I got a newspaper? Oh, shit. Shit. Oh, God dang. Feel like I'm bunny in the toilet today. Toilet.
Anthony, how you doing?
All right. What are you?
I was just washing my hands.
Okay.
He's going to the bathroom.
And he's taping you washing your hands?
Well, we got a fan here.
What's going on?
Actually, we thought that you were coming here. How are you doing?
Not bad. I'm fine.
Not bad. You're good.
Yeah, my head hurts a little. Not fine.
So I just wanted to know what the, I guess the situation. Like I said, we kind of knew where you were headed. What's going to be the situation with Low Life Louie tonight?
What situation? There was no situation.
So you're not scared then about anything that he might do, or you know he's going to be in the building tonight.
I'm scared of what Louie's gonna do? Excuse me for a minute.
I know there's a bathroom.
Come on. Listen, I know this is rated PG. Look, scared of Louie? Shut up. Okay. Shut up. Scared of Louie? Scared of Louie? Let me show you something. See this over here? See that? Oh, Jesus. You see this? That's a broken hip, broken pelvis, and dislocated hip 8 years ago, courtesy of a car accident in Forest Park. Okay? Scared of Low Life Louie? See this? This is another car accident. Shattered both sides of my ankle, got permanent damage on my leg, not even supposed to walk right now. Okay? Even this. Fell off my bicycle 8 years old. And I'm gonna be afraid of Low Life Louie Ramos? Fucking joke. By the way, next time you do a promo in here, please spray something with air freshener. It smells like something fucking died in there. Don't step on my glasses. Not good.
This is a bathroom. I guess he's not scared.
Like every Monday night, you are checking out Breakfast Super Raw.
Bon appetit as Don, Tony, and Mish dish out their opinions about the world of pro wrestling, sports, news, and pop culture. Breakfast Super Raw.
And now, your host, Mish and Don Tony.
Mish, you want to laugh? No joke. No joke. See this?
Yeah, man.
You see those boxers?
Yeah.
I kid you not. Look at this. No joke. Hold on. Let me fix it. See those? Look. I still wear them to this day. I still wear, not those actual ones. I use the same brand. I still wear them to this day. I kid you not. Yeah. I'm wearing one right now, but I'm not going to show anyone. What's going on? It is Breakfast Super Raw. It is Monday night, June 28th, 2021. I am Don Tony. He is
Anthony Missionary Thomas. What's going on there, DT? What's going on, chat?
Pretty good mood. Interesting Raw tonight. I think we see two storylines going in a certain direction, which we will talk about tonight. I think some people may not be thrilled about Randy Orton not advancing in the Money in the Bank match, but we think there is a silver lining going on. And Xavier Woods getting a return match next week. Ass backwards. Last week they fight in Hell in a Cell. Next week they have a regular match. What's the week after? They just cut a promo on each other? And then the week after that, they just bump into each other in the back? It's a little ass backwards, but you and I talked about this off the show. We have an idea, a scenario that we think is going to happen. What do you think, Mish? Where do you think they're going with this? The fact that they are still keeping Xavier involved with this. Yes, Kofi will take on Lashley at Money in the Bank. But you see a bigger picture happening.
There is. I think if you were listening closely tonight to Kofi's promo and seeing how Kofi and MVP kind of got into a little mix-up tonight, I would not be surprised to see New Day versus Bobby Lashley and MVP down the road. I think that's almost a given. I don't know if they want to get into the position of bringing MVP back into regular rotation, but the fact that they addressed his leg, they addressed the fact that he's still using the cane, and they made it part of the promos tonight, I thought it was pretty good. I'm really fucking amazed as to how long MVP's been around in wrestling. And I think only since he's been with Bobby Lashley and the Hurt Business and everything else like that, has the guy really found his stride.
Yeah.
I think he's exemplary in this role. He's probably one of my favorite characters in 2021, late 2020. He's really come into his own. And that's another thing too, because Kofi Kingston, as wonderful of an athlete as most people think that he is, he's never been really known for giving the big promo feel. But for whatever reason lately, his promo game has really stepped up. It's really passionate. It's really deep, you know? Yeah, he's talking about Xavier, my brother, and shit like that. And it's like, wow, this is coming out of Kofi Kingston. He almost reminds me, and I don't want to make the parallel too deep, but it almost reminds me of an earlier Bryan Danielson or Daniel Bryan. So when he was back in ROH, Daniel Bryan was not the king of promos. He couldn't cut a great promo. It was actually one of the biggest weaknesses that people thought when he first came into WWE, you know, and obviously we know that that's completely changed because we've seen Daniel Bryan not only give heartfelt, powerful promos, but he's also become a good comic or a cartoon charismatic character. Jesus, you know, with people like AJ Lee and people like Kane. So he's come a full 180 from where he used to be. And I'm wondering if Kofi's now on that same track, where Kofi has now proven himself time and time again to be a highlight reel in the ring. And only now has he really started to discover how to deliver promos on a different level. Because tonight was fun. Between those two guys, it's fun. And you're right. Obviously, we're going to see Kofi and Bobby Lashley at Money in the Bank. We're going to see those guys going up at it. But I definitely see Xavier and MVP being a part of this situation down the road.
And what leads to SummerSlam?
Oh, Brock Lesnar.
Well, I'll give the second half of this. On Saturday, we had an extra hour's worth of chat on the show, which was awesome. And much love to everybody who hung out last Saturday. A couple of programming notes, which I'll give you in a moment, but I want to stick to this for a second. You know, someone asked me, like, do I think Big E would be drafted to Raw when they do the draft in August? And I thought about it, and I said, you know what? And I feel even more about what I said Saturday tonight. I feel more that this is what's going to happen. You could get Big E on Raw without doing a draft. All Big E's got to do is win the briefcase at Money in the Bank, and then after Xavier, see, right now, Kofi is giving or reminding everyone how great Xavier Woods has become. We've talked about it over the last year and a half, especially when he came back from his injury. Xavier Woods is on a whole different level of what he used to be, and what he used to be was very good as well. So Kofi is bringing up Xavier Woods, and I think Xavier gets a win next week. Maybe Kofi, distracts, maybe something backfires, but I think Xavier gets a win next week. So now Kofi's job is bringing Xavier Woods up to show everyone that it's not just about tag team, it's not just about the New Day, but it's about the individual components as well. So now Kofi goes on to Money in the Bank, loses to Bobby Lashley, something transpires, Big E wins the briefcase, and Big E shows up on Raw and confronts Bobby Lashley, and I think Big E ends up taking Bobby Lashley as early as SummerSlam. 70,000 people, perfect place to do it. And I think Big E will take the title off of Bobby Lashley. So what happens? Now Big E is on Raw, and you didn't have to wait until the draft to do it.
Right.
So I think this whole storyline finishes with Big E getting that briefcase, cashing in, and taking on Bobby Lashley. I like it. I like it. I mean,
that's not bad.
I could only imagine 70,000 people going nuts for Big E to beat Bobby Lashley. This is very meaningful, not just for the three members of the New Day, but like you said, MVP and just all the components. It seems to make sense. It really does. Another thing tonight, which I think on the surface might have upset some people, but I think we see where this is going. Randy Orton did not compete tonight.
No.
And, for anybody that's, I know it was trending on Twitter. There's no injury. There's no controversy. It's a storyline. They did not want Randy Orton to lose tonight. So what they did was they did a storyline where Randy Orton was not in the building, could not compete. Matt Riddle, just to give a little summary now, Matt Riddle at the beginning of the show offers to take Randy's place. Sonya Deville and Adam Pearce say no. We find out we're having a battle royal to determine who's going to replace Randy. Suddenly they change their mind when Riddle says, let me be in the battle royal also. So Riddle wins the battle royal. Knee injury, leg injury, ankle injury, later on in the match. Gets escorted to the back. Everybody thinking, oh, Riddle's out of it now. Nope. Riddle limps back because he's willing to do that much for his best friend, his best bro, Randy Orton. Riddle loses. Drew McIntyre wins. Drew McIntyre is now in Money in the Bank. A lot of people don't like that idea because, well, if he wins the briefcase, he can't cash in against Lashley. I don't think Drew is winning the briefcase. But when Omos pulled AJ Styles out of the ring at the very end of that match, I think the reason why Riddle did not win for Randy Orton tonight, because I know we all expected Randy Orton and Riddle to be in the briefcase match together. Maybe Randy turns on Riddle, throws him over the top rope. Randy, bro, after everything I did for you, never trust the snake. Never trust that. They're not doing that. What I think this is doing is planting the seeds of Riddle and Randy Orton versus AJ Styles and Omos for those tag titles. And I think you will see Randy Orton and Riddle win those tag belts. Randy Orton doesn't have many years left in his career. Randy Orton is a Hall of Famer. When we look back at Randy Orton's career and tag team partners he has, if they don't have at least one tag team title run, we're going to remember this more for skits than anything else. So I think this was done tonight to throw a little curveball, and I think in the end we will have AJ Styles and Omos versus Riddle and Randy Orton. What do you think?
I actually have another little weird twist to this, and I don't know if it's possible, but I noticed something that's very similar. Do you remember the old school Mickie James Trish Stratus feud? Do you remember how Mickie James was an uber fan of Trish Stratus? And it began, pretty much at first by helping her out, kind of like the way that Riddle was helping out Orton. And then she was in matches with Trish Stratus as her partner, kind of like Riddle was with Orton. And now Riddle's been put into the same position as Mickie James in a way where they were there to fill in for Trish Stratus and Randy Orton. I'm wondering if we're getting another variant of the stalker fan kind of thing, except a 2021 version.
Could happen.
Matt Riddle and Randy Orton.
Could happen. It'd be pretty funny if Randy Orton, they did a segment like where he was getting out of the shower and Riddle is just like standing there and Randy's like, bro, I brought you a towel.
Yeah.
I think you dropped the soap.
Yeah.
Somebody mentioned Randy has 6-7 years left. How do you know that? And even if he did, how many tag teams, memorable tag teams, momentous tag team runs, partners will he have left in those bunch of years? What was the last partner that Randy Orton really had a good run with? Don't tell me Bray Wyatt, because that shit sucked. So think about it. Just because you got 4, 5, 6, 7 years left doesn't mean there's a whole bunch of partners waiting in the wings. They're all online waiting. When do I get my shot to team with Randy? Doesn't happen that way. Yeah.
No, I just thought it would be an interesting idea because
I like it.
That storyline hasn't been done very many times. And as far as, how it's worked out, it worked out fantastic for somebody like Nikki and Trish, to the point where it's a lot of people's favorite feud between those two specific women. So when you think of a person as charismatic as Randy Orton alongside with Riddle, I don't know. It's kind of working for me, and you can make the parallels. You're right, though. We have no clue if this is where they're going to go.
Look, it could be the reverse. Randy could turn on Riddle, and then Riddle gets even more obsessed. It's almost like a breakup, and the person refuses to acknowledge the breakup, and they still try to keep getting back together. It's almost kind of like the male Nikki Cross with Alexa Bliss. Randy could break the mug, and I was just going to say Alexi. Riddle keeps coming back. Oh, look at the cat. Hey, the cat. You took the cone off already?
No, this is the other cat.
Oh, it's the other cat. That's the Muddy Jannetty. Yes, I'm kidding. Hey, couple of things right off the bat. First off, people were asking about this jersey. I told everybody I was going to pay a little
Dykstra.
to Lenny Dykstra, one of my favorite players back in the day. That guy could have been a great wrestler. Man, especially when he was taking some, not approved substances. I think he would be a phenomenal wrestler. This jersey, I don't remember the name of the store in Shea Stadium. Was it the Diamond Club? I don't remember, but I bought this jersey probably in 1988 or 89, somewhere. No, it had to have been 88 because he got traded to the Phillies. That awful trade, Juan Samuel, Roger McDowell, Lenny Dykstra. But this is a large. And as you can see, it's kind of like worn out over the years. My tits are up here, and the logo is all the way down here. So the logo should be like this. But I decided to wear it anyway. So, we mentioned Saturday the passing of Bobby Eaton's wife. Very sad, 50 years old, rest in peace. Talked about it on Saturday. We had a feeling that she was awfully young. I think 60, not 50. Yeah, because I think I would have said that kind of hits home a little bit, thinking of age and everything.
Right.
Got to talk about a couple of things besides Raw tonight. First off, I just want to let everyone know we launched the Discord page, finally. So for our channel members, obviously they get VIP treatment because they're channel members here. But if any of you out there want an invite to our Discord that is strictly for our YouTube family, email me, dontony@dontony.com, or subscribe to this channel. Because if you notice, I am very active in the community section now. And every couple of days, I'm going to post an invite link that'll be good for 10, 20 people. Grab the invite link, sign up, and we could start talking. I mean, we only set up the page yesterday. I think we're already at 30 or 40 people. We'll probably be at 1,000 before you know it. So that's first off. Second off, I'm going on vacation next week from Thursday until Monday morning. So next Wednesday, because I got to get up so early on Thursday, I don't want to take off next Wednesday because we got to cover the Great American Bash, and we got a couple of important matches from AEW that's going to be announced. So next Wednesday, instead of me doing the show at the normal 10:05 p.m. start time, I'm going to start at 8, and we're going to turn it into an AEW watch-along, and we'll talk about Great American Bash throughout the show, after the show. This way, at least I could finish by 11, instead of 1. That 2 extra hours will be the game changer because I don't like driving on 3 hours sleep. What else? I think that's it. Right now. Before we go any further, we got to talk about this because we do have someone tuning in tonight, hanging out a little bit. I promised him last week, because I wanted the facts on this, and I know this kind of pissed off Mish a little bit. Look, the outcome is good. I mean, it's not a bad outcome, but people will understand quickly why we're not too thrilled about what went down. You guys remember February of last year? We talked about the arrest of Bryan Clark, Adam Bomb. Remember, he was accused of, they had illegal substances, selling narcotics, weapons possession, blah, 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 blah. And, I joked last year. I mean, if you look at him, he's on the left, obviously. You look at him, here's a flashback picture of me and my dad from 1986. Bryan Clark looks like he would be like perfect in my family. He just looks like somebody that would be in my family. The thing is that, for over a year, this guy has been forced to sit and wait and wait and wait and wait. Because of COVID, a lot of court cases kept getting postponed. I work as an insurance guy since 1998. I have customers who have moving violations, red light speeding, that have been postponed to 2023. That's how far behind they are with cases. Right. So I talked to Adam Bomb, Bryan Clark, a few times over the last couple of weeks, and he said, bro, he doesn't say bro, but he's like, charges are going to be dropped. And I felt kind of bad because a year and a half ago, we were like, wow, this is pretty fucked up. Look at all these charges and everything. Is it? Then started reading a little bit of the court details. And basically what transpired is that the cops got word that there's a lot of narcotics going on. They go in the house, they see family heirlooms of weapons. Oh, gun possession, firearms.
Oh, is that what it was?
Well, no, there was a bunch of things. There was a few things.
No. I knew about, I wasn't sure about the firearms because in what I was reading, they made it sound like he pulled a gun on a cop.
Yeah, and that's not the case. Wasn't the case at all. And the cops speculated the famous word, everyone, that we've talked about before. You know me, I absolutely love cops, but there is a small number out there that are shady as fuck. And I always told the story that I know someone very, very personal, very well, that a long time ago said that he wanted to be a cop because he wanted the power. The power was like a drug. And unfortunately, Bryan Clark came across a couple of cops that assumed, and you know the phrase, don't assume because you make an ass out of you and me. Case of Bryan Clark, he had to pay lawyers. He had to wait. That's the worst part. Guy was innocent. And if we didn't have COVID, this probably would have been squashed and closed a couple of months later. But 16 months later, the court finally threw everything out, totally vindicated, did nothing wrong. And, the thing is that, a lot of people don't know Bryan Clark is a military guy. His family is military. And, I'm not trying to put words in his mouth, but something tells me because of that military background, you respect law, you respect authority, and I wouldn't be surprised if he's a little more forgiving because of his background. But I tell you, if I was him, I know me, I would try to sue the city for just all the shit that, that was posted online. Not very good. But I'll say this, the one thing that sucks as far as pills go, narcotics, pain medicine, and I'm not saying that he had any of this, but the one thing that it gave me a flashback of was Jeff Hardy. All right. If anybody remembers a long time ago, Jeff Hardy got arrested. They went into his house. They found pills and a bunch of other things, and they ended up dropping a couple of those charges right away. And the reason why they did was because they originally accused him of distribution. Now, I know a lot of times they immediately charge you with that based on how many pills that you have.
Right.
But the thing is that when you're properly prescribed and you're dealing with severe pain, one of the phobias that people go through is the fear of not having your pain medicine when you are in excruciating pain. And I have admitted this many times in the past, And the only reason why I've admitted it is because my stash is not enough where I could get in trouble. You're only talking a couple of weeks worth. But the thing is that sometimes with my pain medication, if I'm supposed to take it every 12 hours, if I could stick it out to 20 hours, even though I can't even walk and even though I'm in excruciating pain, sometimes I stick it out to 20 hours, 24 hours. So I have an extra 1, 2, 3 stored away because I always fear that what if my doctor dies? What if my doctor gets rid of his practice? Especially with the way people abuse pain medication, and it's an epidemic in this country. You know, I can only imagine going to a new doctor and the doctor says, oh, you know, we're going to try other ways to alleviate your pain. I got a spinal stimulator in me, the same one that Hogan got. You know, I've showed pictures of my x-ray. I look like the Bionic Man inside. And I've said it many times before. You know, I got the spinal stimulator done because I didn't want to take 10 painkillers a day. I saw what it did to Conan. I saw what it did to other people. I saw people getting strokes and heart attacks and their livers failing, kidneys failing because of this. And I've been taking them since 1996. I've been taking pain medication since 1996. I still have to this day. Otherwise, I can't even move around. And I've said it clearly. If there was ever a day that my pain medication gets taken away because the country's in an epidemic and I'm prone to a bed and I can't alleviate my pain, keep weapons away from me. Keep weapons away from me because I would seriously, Mom, Dad, I love you. I'll see you in a bunch of years. I know that sounds nuts, but trust me, when someone is going through, you know, that hardcore, horrendous pain, it's no joke. So, you know, it's just unfortunate that I don't know if he went through that or not. I know he has battled, you know, a lot of bullshit over the years. I admire the guy, and I'm glad that everything was cleared up.
No, for
You
sure.
know.
I mean, the whole idea that there was a construct in order to get him on charges that were not true, I kind of agree with you. He probably should find some kind of legal counsel to protect himself. And at least if he kind of goes to court with something like this, it might prevent this from happening to him again. I wonder if he doesn't do anything about this, will it happen down the road, you know, again, per se. So,
yeah, I just, like I said, you know, I don't know, you know, all the details, but from what I've seen, you know, I think, you know, obviously law enforcement needs some drastic changes, profiling, a lot of things. But I also think you have to understand the circumstances. You know, if you see someone and they have, you know, an extra month's worth of medication, you know, it's not necessarily because they're dealing, but because, God forbid, you know, your doctor's sick, not around, whatever it is, you don't want to be in that situation. I think this needs to be a little bit more empathy and a little bit of investigating instead of just immediately arresting someone. So I'm glad that everything was dropped. And, you know, it's a shame that a lot of websites out there aren't talking about this. They need someone else to cut and paste it first before they follow. But I wanted to be one of the first, you know, even when he told me, he's like, it's on Yahoo News. I went on Yahoo News. You know what it is? One place. No one else talked about it. So
it's kind of sad too, because he was one of my favorites when I was a kiddo. You know,
Yeah.
I mean, I think I've talked about it before on Soup a few times, but
Yeah.
I always thought that the idea of the Adam Bomb character going all the way back then, I mean, before Wrath and Chronic and everything else like that, but the idea of Adam Bomb was even darker as a kid than The Undertaker. The Undertaker was second fiddle to Adam Bomb. Because as a kid, I thought, well, and I do mean as a kid back in 1994 or whatever, or a little bit later than that, 96, but still, Undertaker just wanted to take one person. Adam Bomb wanted to kill everyone.
Big shout out to one of our furthest fans of the show, Numair Awan, tuning in from Pakistan right now. So much love, much love. Big shout out to everybody who's tuning in. I big shout out. And Adam Bomb, if you have one of those styrofoam bombs left over, I know this guy, no bullshit. I'll pay him. A couple of years ago,
Dude, if he had
I
no
told
God,
you,
man,
I told
that's
you I
the
had
one thing I
one
would-
stored away, and I'm telling you, Mish is heterosexual. We respect everybody. I mean, whatever floats your boat, we're cool with. But Mish is heterosexual.
Yes.
And
yes, he
honestly, the look on his eyes, if I was the hottest chick in town and went topless and presented him a big bowl of corned beef and pastrami, I think still his eyes got bigger when I told him that I have one of the footballs, the bombs, and I said, I'll give it to you. I can't find it. So if he's got one, you know how to contact me, Brian. And much love, much love. I'm glad, and thank you for your service and your family as well. Absolutely.
Thank you for all the years of entertainment, too.
Yes, yes. I mean, and we didn't even talk about Chronic. It's not appropriate to talk about Chronic because, Chronic is...
Oh, no.
You think they looked him up and hey, he used to go under the name Chronic. We know what Chronic is,
You know what? I wouldn't be surprised if it's that kind of narrow thinking that somebody's like, well, he played the gimmick of Chronic, so he must be a drug guy. I wouldn't be surprised, man. Stranger things have happened.
Yeah.
I'm glad the guy's been exonerated. I'm glad that he's okay. I hope that, the medication that he has, and like you said, I hope there's,
And it might have been his partner. It could have been his. It's just
I hope it's okay. It's not like you need that much. You know what I mean? As opposed to just making sure that you have some for a rainy day.
Absolutely. I want to give a special shout out to someone else as well. His name is John. Big fan of the show. And, last week, the week before, we were talking about Akeem, the African Dream, and the Big Boss Man as a tag team. I don't even think he made that top 50 list. We were talking about that. And obviously my favorite cartoon of all time, Beavis and Butthead. And I want to show everybody two pictures that he drew from listening to our show because he was bored. That is Akeem and the Big Boss Man. That is Beavis and Butthead. And what makes John so special is that he suffers from spinal cerebellum ataxia. What that is that he suffers from his spine being constantly inflamed and damaged. And the ataxia basically makes his movements involuntary, which means he cannot control his movements. He is prone to a wheelchair, and I can only imagine what that must be like to want to draw and you can't even control, so the fact that he took this much time to draw these. And I tell you, I love the Beavis and Butthead one because it reminds me of Beavis and Butthead Do America when they were all in the desert and they were hallucinating. That's kind of like what they looked like. But now because you showed this to me, John, you need to make one of yours truly and Mish. That is the challenge. I will reward you for it. So much love, my friend. Much love. And Brandon Foley, my apologies, man. Saturday, I shouted you out. You're getting married, I think July 3rd. And I was focused on the name, Papa Giorgio. And I'm like, oh, big Italian name. Forgetting that is the middle name of, not the last name. And after, I'm like, why does this name sound awfully familiar? Because I always knew him as Brandon Foley. He actually, one of the earliest Patreon shows, he came on as a guest host with us.
Oh, okay.
So, yeah, Brandon Foley. So, and he's still, he's honestly the MVP of our Patreon. One of the first subscribers and never left us. So much love, Brandon. Much love. And Friday was pretty wild over here. I know a lot of you are aware of it already. And, some people went back and looked at the transcript because there's no way. But we had a visitor. We actually had two visitors on Friday. One of the visitors just lurked. I don't want to say who he is, but he is a big supporter of the family, big star on TV. I think you could all figure out. He lurked and hung out Friday for a little while, said, great job. Then Friday, we had Enzo hanging out for a little while. I didn't even know until everybody was, gushing over it. So it was pretty cool. And Bryan Clark was tuning in tonight for a little as well. I mean, he's not going to chat, but, much love to everybody and much love to everybody out there. One last thing, and we'll get into a couple of super chats, and then we'll talk about Tammy. She's out of jail. And we'll talk about Raw, Edge, Roman Reigns. Oh, and by the way, in 20 minutes, Mish is going to call it a night because Mish is very much under the weather. Legit. Wow. You're run down.
That's the second shot of COVID, dude, and I haven't gotten any sleep. I haven't gotten good sleep, so.
Yeah.
I look, without getting too much into the COVID thing, everybody that says the second shot is brutal is fucking telling you the truth. The second shot was absolutely brutal. For the last 18 hours, my brain has been in a fog. I've been completely weak. Your arm feels like it's on fire, the arm that they actually stick you with. It is not fun. This second shot, because the first shot was nothing. The first shot was literally nothing. And I took the Pfizer. So I didn't take the Moderna. I took the Pfizer. But the second shot is just awful.
Yeah. Well,
I'm fine. It's just is what you're going to deal with if you get vaccinated.
Yeah, rest. When your body is telling you to rest, you need to rest. That's why I'm going away for 5 days next week. My body's telling me, okay, you need a little break. I know I have one in April, but we've done a lot in the last couple of months, and dealing with my dad, dealing with my mom, planning for the wedding, planning to have my parents meet her parents, dealing with the issues with the prostate, which I may have to get surgery because this mental anguish is kind of pissing me off. I just, in the back of my mind, is the Gleason number going to go to 7? When does it go to 8? I'm like, just bang the shit out now. So there's a lot of things going on. So when I see people, on social media trying to throw shade at my way, or think that I'm throwing shade their way, don't flatter yourself because there's much more important things going on in life. And, to sit on social media and just whine and bitch, Oh, and John, hello. He knows what I'm talking about. So, couple of super chats. Nero Fay, he's enjoying the Discord, and yeah, I'm pretty happy with it. Mish did a ton of behind the scenes work today. It's obviously reflecting the page, and we're starting it off the right way, and it's going to be built the right way. And anybody that wants to power talk or start trolling and hating on people, trust me, now with the Discord that I had before, I always would tell the person bye-bye and then tell them why I'm saying bye-bye. But now you're not even told. It's almost like the mob. The mob doesn't always tell you they're going to whack you, or they may wait a little while. So when you least expected, hey, how come I don't have access anymore? Giving you a heads up now. Don't even bother doing what you think you're going to do. So, Steve Joseph, who do you think Brock is going to face at SummerSlam, Mish? I say nobody. I don't think Brock Lesnar's going to have a match at SummerSlam. I don't think it's needed.
Well, he's going to make an example of someone then. I mean, you don't bring Brock Lesnar back and just have him tap dance in the middle of the ring. I mean, do you think that there might be something with John Cena? Because let's not forget, John Cena's been tempting the interviews saying that he's definitely going to be back this year. And so, since it's this year, it's not WrestleMania. So it's either SummerSlam or what? Survivor Series? I don't know.
Brock could return. He could return as somewhat of a babyface. F5, Bobby Lashley, and Big E gets the win. This leads to a match between Bobby Lashley and Brock Lesnar with no belts on the line. That gets Bobby Lashley against the title picture quickly. I could see that. Because Bobby Lashley has talked shit about wanting to face Brock Lesnar. Here I am, big boy. I just cost you the title. I just cost the thing that you want the most. You know what needs to happen? Brock needs to F5 Bobby Lashley. Bobby Lashley loses the belt. And then the next night on Raw, Bobby Lashley, or the women walk out on him. You don't want to be with a loser. You're a loser. You lost your title.
But I mean, if you're going by that narrative, that kind of defeats your earlier narrative of Big E running for the title after winning the Money in the Bank.
No, I think Brock could cause Lashley the title, and Big E could face Lashley at SummerSlam, and Brock shows up, and because remember, Brock has history with Kofi. So wouldn't it be something if Brock shows up, everybody immediately thinks he's going to F5 Big E because of the history with Kofi, but instead he F5s Bobby Lashley, leaves the ring, and Big E gets the win. And this is a great way to get Bobby Lashley away from that title like this without having to do rematches. And it's a perfect scenario afterwards. And some people are saying, what about Cena? I think Cena versus Roman Reigns is happening. I think it's definitely happening. I think what's going to happen is, I guess we could bang this out of the way right now because we don't have much time with you left. I think since Edge versus Roman and Money in the Bank is happening, Seth Rollins is going to cost Edge the match against Roman Reigns. And this is going to lead to Edge versus Seth Rollins at SummerSlam. So Edge versus Rollins at SummerSlam, John Cena versus Roman Reigns at SummerSlam, Big E versus Bobby Lashley at SummerSlam. AJ Styles and Omos versus Riddle and Randy Orton at SummerSlam. If they don't do it at Money in the Bank.
Right.
Or maybe they do a rematch at SummerSlam. I don't think Brock Lesnar is going to have a match at SummerSlam. It's not the way I feel right now. I don't see it.
Yeah, interference makes sense. But yeah, he's going to definitely have to go in there and make himself heard, make himself seen. He's not just going to show up and say, hey, everybody, I'm back. Brock Lesnar has to go out there and create himself a position. I don't want him to be in the title hunt immediately. I like the fact that he might be collecting some skulls because I don't think anybody really wants Brock Lesnar right back in the title hunt, at least not immediately. So him going back in SummerSlam, establishing himself, that might be the best way.
Yeah. And how does WWE know to release without no fans in the building? How do they gauge who is over, who's not?
Social media.
Yeah, social media.
People are posting about the person. When Cesaro and Seth had their match, even though it was in the middle of the night, people were very much commenting about Cesaro and Seth, versus other people on the roster. So I'm sure WWE not only looks at, because obviously the event metrics are different, but they probably pay close attention to how many times a wrestler is mentioned, how they're mentioned. Are they mentioned in a positive light? Right. Obviously, your ratings break down every Monday and Friday and everything else like that.
And Tuesday.
So there's a lot of different, intuitive systems that they have in place in order to decipher who is liked and who is not liked.
Yeah. By the way, Mish's could exit early, and I'm still going to take some of your calls in a little bit. So if you want to call in, you'll have the opportunity to do so. I got to share this with everybody.
Sure.
On Friday, I talked about the releases. And I said, I don't remember who it was.
Shit. Wow, I'm sorry.
Jay Carlos, man.
Jesus.
Yeah, much love, my friend. Oh, we'll get into him in a second. Let me just share this. Trust me. Taken back by it. That's awesome, my friend. I said on Friday that I didn't remember who it was. I said, but there was somebody that was released Friday that has very few followers on Twitter. And I even made the joke that I even have more followers than him on Twitter. And people were like, who is it? Who is it? Who is it? So over the weekend, I went and I checked the social media for every person who was released. I don't have their exact number in front of me, but this is going to blow people away. Everrise. You go on this Twitter account right now. Everrise, each member of Everrise only have between 6,000 and 7,000 followers. A WWE established account with the blue check mark, and they've been doing a podcast, and they could only get 7,000 followers. Fucking Alexa Bliss's doll has 100 times that amount. Everrise's Twitter accounts combined don't even add up to 15,000 followers. How? So when you ask, how do you know? Imagine with those two guys, nothing personal against them. It's never personal. But just imagine WWE doing this big podcast, it launched on YouTube. Last week was the first ever live YouTube episode they did. And they're looking at like, they're doing all this and nobody still wants to follow them.
Right.
So that's a perfect example of it. That's a perfect example. Shout out to AS7607. By the way, Crazy Cruiserweight, she said yes. As in, she accepts your generosity and says thank you. I am getting a couple of extra little toys put together. She knows what they are. And I'm going to ship out the briefcase. Yes, this is it, because obviously I had to take it out of the box so I could stuff it with things. So that'll go out probably the weekend or maybe Monday of next week. But Cruiserweight, thank you again. For those that don't know, on Thursday we did a Who Am I contest during Thursday's Q&A. And I was giving away the briefcase with about $100 worth of stuff inside it. The briefcase on eBay right now is about $100 and a quarter. And Crazy Cruiserweight won, and Crazy Cruiserweight said, you know what? She had COVID, had some family members ill, not the greatest couple of months. He doesn't even know her personally. He's like, give it to her. So how awesome is that? How awesome is that?
Amazing. Yeah.
And Herbert Doherty, yeah, he had the second Pfizer shot also. Burn, baby, burn, the arm. So I hope you're feeling better, Herbert.
It's gross. And I saw people saying that they had both the shots and there was absolutely no symptoms. I'm like, fantastic for you. But I mean, if you even do a simple search online, you'll see a plethora of symptoms that people have. So
yeah. And Jay Carlos,
Jesus.
Thank you very much, my friend. My God, I try to pay you back in some ways, but if there's anything that we could ever do for you, or if there's anything you're looking for, I thank you very much for that. It's very, very generous, and believe me, we don't take for granted you or anybody tuning in. There's a lot of people out there that do the opposite. They just want to feel like, notoriety. I know why I do this, and I've been doing it. Next year's 25 years. The fact that you all still hang out, have a great time, and to have this chat build up every show, positive, having fun, it's truly an escape. You see people all over social media, oh, we need an escape from COVID, from the racism, from the tragedies, from this. My God, the stuff going on in Florida right now, which is terrible with that building that went down. And trust me, other buildings are going to follow. Not because of this, but because a lot of building code was ignored and some people are paid under the table, and eventually you're just playing Russian roulette with disaster. But thank you, my friend. Thank you.
Thank you, man.
For everybody out there, we're going to obviously leave him up for a little while and until Mish exits tonight.
Sure.
But I do want to take it down only for 1 second, only because I hope WWE puts that up for auction, because I actually would like to get that. That is Riddle writing the note claiming that Randy Orton wrote it. And I think he said, aloha, I, the Viper, Randy Orton of sound body and mind, hereby declare my best friend Riddle, furthermore, take my place in tonight's last chance triple threat match. He used words like bodacious and everything else. So I tell you, man, Riddle has found his stride.
Right.
He's found his stride.
It's so much better than the airhead gimmick that he was running. Now all of a sudden he's the broski guy, and he's got his boy crush, his man crush on Randy Orton. I'm telling you, there's something there. So
yeah, it's cool, man. I enjoy it. What do you think about Nikki tonight? Not superhero in training, but she is Nikki AASH. Nikki AASH.
Yeah.
What was the AASH supposed to stand for? Now, they got to be careful.
Almost a superhero.
Okay. Look, for those out there that think I'm making this up, something happened many years ago. Unfortunately, she is no longer with us, suicide. But something happened several years ago that anybody that was tuning into my shows at that time thought it was pretty epic. It's no big deal, but it was pretty epic. Ashley Mazzaro, I think, went to Mexico. She was at a wrestling event. I still have the photo, by the way. And, you know, at the time she had written on social media, like everybody, you know, was chanted for her and this and that. And when we got the photo, every single person in the audience except for one was looking the other way. Weren't even looking at her. So we were putting dots next to every person. And I said, you know, what do we call her fans? And I said, we should call them AASHoles. AASHoles. 2 days later on Monday Night Raw, John Cena said something to somebody and used the term AASHoles, which was just really weird. But at the time, everybody is like, that was pretty funny. And it happened with Paul Heyman also. I made a Jewish joke. It wasn't anything racist, but I made a Jewish joke on social media. And a couple of days later, made word for word. Even I got the joke a couple of words wrong in the exact phrase. But the thing is that the reason why I bring this up is they got to be very careful because they're using AASH, Nikki AASH. It's only a matter of minutes that people are going to say, okay, what do we call Nikki's superheroes out there? Oh, let's call them AASHoles. It's coming, everybody.
Yeah, I could see it.
It's coming. Go on Twitter right now. I checked right before we went live. Not one person wrote Nikki Cross AASHoles. I guarantee you, once the word goes around, you're going to see people saying, I'm an AASHhole, AASH. You watch, AASHoles.
I could see it.
So if she could be Nikki AASH, then I am Don quadruple A. AAAAA. Almost an absolute antagonistic, antipathetic asshole. I am Don AAAAA.
They
What'd
did
you
kind of
think?
beef up her character tonight, though. Her promo wasn't too bad. I like the fact that the way that she presented herself.
Yes.
I hate the nickname. So it's Nikki Cross Ash. I'm no, just leave it alone. But I mean, they kind of refitted her outfit a little bit. It didn't look as just cartoony as it did the first week. So there's something there. I didn't necessarily. Her match isn't bad. And the fact that they kept talking about her ash, it's like that skin, that form-fitting suit that she's wearing doesn't leave much to the imagination. That's all I'm going to say to that. But Bliss coming out there and interrupting didn't make much sense. She got the win as an underdog with the roll-up on Shayna. It's, I think that there needs to be a little bit more definition there. You know, I do like her as the underdog, but at the same time, I'm a little bit confused because as comically corny as this is, Nikki can wrestle. She doesn't have to be a cornball. The girl can fucking wrestle. She doesn't have to have a silly roll-up to beat Shayna. Like, there could be an actual match between those two, and it would be very good. So, I don't know if it's just like a lack of belief in the girl or if they just want to take her in a different direction. But it's almost like here you have somebody who's very talented versus someone else who's very talented. Let's do something that doesn't highlight either. So
Exactly.
that's how
Exactly. And by the way, the lack of superpowers for Alexa Bliss continues. This way, it's the unbionic leg this week. You know, just nailing Nia, nailing Reginald. No more voodoo. No more special effects. Is Alexa Bliss kind of acting somewhat twisted babyface? Because I'm trying to figure out, am I supposed to cheer what she's doing or am I supposed to get pissed off at what she's doing?
Don't know.
Trying to figure that out.
There has not been any establishment of her being a face, but yet that's how she's coming out.
Yeah.
So it's another case of a confused gimmick where it's really up to the people at home to decide whether they like her or dislike her.
By the way, I don't know if you saw this. I'm going to take Jay Carlos off for a second. The contest I did Thursday that Cruiserweight won, I did two Who Am I's. One answer was Nikki Cross. The other one was Mercedes Martinez. If nobody had gotten the question right, I was going to post this picture. And do you know 99% of everybody who tuned in on Thursday had no idea that this was Nikki Cross?
Wow.
That is Nikki Cross. Big difference when you fluff up the hair, a little bit of makeup, and a nice, sexy outfit. That is Nikki Cross. Obviously, you know, picture's a little dated because she's been in WWE. I don't think she's taken that picture since being in WWE, but that is Nikki Cross. So I figured I'd share that. We definitely need to mention this. Thunderdome finishes next Friday. I expect to be on Thunderdome this Friday. I don't know. Did you see SmackDown Friday? Did you see me on Thunderdome? I was on TV about 15 times.
I did watch SmackDown, but no, I didn't get a chance.
Oh my God!
You
You got to look at my Twitter later. Maybe I could. I'm not. It's going to take me too long to push up the photos, but just to give you a short story of it, when they told me to show up at 9. When Carmella came out for a segment, I think it was even Papo Jr. had posted a photo. It looked funny because I was all the way to the top row, and Carmella's looking up like this, and I'm looking down at her like this, and it was not intentional. It was funny. But true story, about half hour later, somebody goes in my ear and says, could you sit in the middle of your camera? Now, obviously, you're not going to say that to every member of Thunderdome because almost everybody was obliging. Somebody went in my ear and said, could you sit in the middle of the camera? So I went like this. I moved over. Next thing I know, I'm featured right behind the ring steps when Jey Uso took on Dolph Ziggler and they brawled by the ring steps. If you look, I'm in the third row like this and doing this. And then somebody pointed out that they had me like 3 rows up. So they had Deli Man all over the place. So it was pretty funny. I had a great time, man. But next Friday is it. Because they're going to tape Raw a week early because they need to dismantle Thunderdome. So you'll probably see me there on Friday also. But what a way to give us a lasting memory about Thunderdome. I know it's not that big of a deal. How cool was this tonight?
Yes, what an amazing match. Those two guys right there. That was absolutely fantastic, dude.
It was awesome,
I'm very surprised because Ricochet is definitely not one of my first guys on the list, but he did a great job tonight with the Flood Stud. I thought him and the Flood Stud put on a great show. You know, and there's another guy who's kind of really coming to his own charismatically. Yeah. Jomo is really funny lately. Him and The Miz, once again, it goes back to what it goes back to what we've said a long time ago, that The Miz needs someone else. And Jomo's that guy. Those two play off of each other so well. And I was surprised that they were able to give Ricochet a little bit of the action tonight. And they had that funny little segment with Ricochet shooting Miz in the face with the squirt gun. You know, but it was good.
You got a drip too. You got a drip gun too. That's funny. I mean, Miz's reaction after Ricochet did that springboard. Yeah. I mean, that was just...
Dude, it's amazing. And it went to a double count out, which normally everybody poo-poos on, but it made sense.
Yes.
And what honestly kind of sold it for me, and this is totally a subset thing, but at the very end of the match, when the match was already over and called, Ricochet's leaning on the guardrail, and he's like, is it over? Is the match over? And I just love that because it just felt like it was an honest reaction. Like, am I supposed to still be fighting or what?
Yeah.
It was great. I don't know. Yeah. But yes, very good match. These two really need to have a rematch. It very much felt like Drew and Sheamus, where these two guys put on a clinic of a match. They didn't have to. Nobody expected it. And now all of a sudden they might have found something that's helpful for both.
I think they will have a rematch next week. Just like what happened, what we wanted to have happen last week happened this week. Last week, when we heard that Naomi and Asuka were taking on Doudrop and Eva Marie, that Eva Marie shouldn't have tagged in even once.
Right.
We got that tonight. And as we said last week, Eva was going to basically make Doudrop pay, learn a lesson for what she did last week for not listening. And Doudrop is rolling her eyes, kind of like, like the assistant that just doesn't like her boss, but because she's her assistant, she's got to go along with it. I personally,
he was aware. I'm very happy that Eva's aware, because I was very worried that she had no inkling or understanding the way that Dewdrop felt about her, even though Dewdrop is in the back making all these faces and sarcastic remarks. So I was very glad tonight when she kind of turned back on her. You know, it made it very clear that she's very aware of her situation. So she's not a complete ditz. You know, she understands what's going on.
Yeah. Jay Koss, I'll get back to you in a minute. Just want to shout out a couple of people. Joe Punches sending love as always. Balance of work and sleep has made it hard to be live. Sending love. And Joe, you know, we always thank you for it. And I hope to see you soon. You know, we're going to start trying to like put together some get-togethers in different states.
I'll see you in St. Louis, brother.
Yeah.
So I'm definitely doing the St. Louis thing. Like, that's not even a joke. So
yeah. So thank you, Joe. Much love, my friend. Much love. Brandon Jones. He does not have a problem with Nikki Cross's outfit or a superhero name as long as she keeps entertaining him. Brandon, that's you couldn't have said it any better.
Dude, she's a fantastic wrestler. I mean, you can go back years and you'll never see or hear any kind of iota from me where I've said that she was anything but entertaining in the ring. And I felt that for the longest time, she was overlooked. She was not given the proper position. When they put her with Bliss the first time, I thought it was kind of holding her down. So, I mean, I'm happy that she's back on screen. Don't get me wrong. It's just, I'm in the position where some people need the goofy gimmick in order to get people to watch them and sell merch and stuff like that. And some people are above that. And maybe my position or my opinion of her is so high that in my own way, I don't think that she needs the superhero gimmick. And I understand. She developed the superhero gimmick. It was her idea and stuff like that, and that's fantastic. But I think that she was a competent and good enough wrestler and a good enough underdog with Rhea and Charlotte that she could have built on that without all this other extra, you know?
We're at an hour and yeah, we're at an hour and 5. Oh yes, loves the cat too. The cat's back.
Thank you.
Awesome.
Yeah, she's
chilling.
She does whatever the hell she wants.
That's cool. All right, that's cool. Well, I'm going to let Mish go in about 5 minutes if that's okay. Sure. I want to just say this quick. I didn't get a chance to say it on last Monday's show. I thought about it right after the show was over. I tweeted about it. I mentioned it on Patreon. And I don't know how you all feel about it, but Nikki Cross with her current character, the superhero thing, this is what it comes across to me. If any of you out there had a daughter, son, niece, nephew, grandkid, or boyfriend's kid, girlfriend's kid, whoever it is, husband, wife from another marriage, and you wanted to go to or plan a party at Chuck E. Cheese, to me, Nikki Cross, her persona, her look, and the way that she talks about the character, to me, if you were to have a party at a Chuck E. Cheese and a host was going to come out to make all the kids happy and make animals out of balloons and play games with the kids and color and do all the acting, she looks like the poster child of doing that. And if WWE was smart when it comes to kids, I think she could be one of the top. I don't want to go as far as role model, but I think she would be one of the top people that could visit schools or make an appearance for kids and this and that. I think the character and everything about it, like I said, if you were going to have a party at a Chuck E. Cheese and you wanted an awesome host to satisfy the kids and make the kids happy, that's the vibe I get from her and the character right now. Right. And I'm not complaining. It's not a bad thing, but that's the vibe I get from it. Jay Carlos, he doesn't watch Raw at all. He comes to listen to the reviews while at work. And on a side note, we have the best fan base or family in the whole internet wrestling community. I know everybody out there appreciates that, and thank you, my friend. I kind of like this super chat a little better. No, I'm kidding. But No, man. When I was going to go video 5 years ago, there was many reasons why I didn't do it. But one of the reasons was so many people in my ear like, dude, if you think Twitter and Facebook is toxic, you have no idea what you're going to get into in YouTube. You're going to deal with trolls and trolls and trolls and trolls. And that was something that I wanted to establish from day one. I wanted everybody here to have a good time, not feel embarrassed to say anything. If you have a specific question, I don't bite. Mish doesn't bite. You want to throw it out there, but I wanted the vibe. There are too many people out there to say that they love wrestling as an escape, but all they do is bitch about it. They love this as an escape, but all they do is bitch about it. They love it, and all they do is complain and complain and complain and complain. There's no escape. They use that because that gets them conversation. And me, I wanted people, if wrestling is an escape, the shows are an escape, chatting with each other is an escape, I wanted to truly be an escape, where for a little while, you can forget about all the bullshit. Yes, I've said a lot of not so great things in the past. My attitude has changed, but, I've grown up over the years and I've, changed in a lot of ways, but it's authentic. It's authentic. Once in a while, I flip back. My brain says a couple of jokes that I probably regret saying in 2021. But, everything here is authentic. So anybody could type in 320 characters whatever they want you to think. And what happens is, it's almost like what people used to say about Bret Hart. Bret Hart forgot he was in the sports entertainment business. People out there forget that they've made a fake profile about themselves for years and years and years, and they actually believe it, and that's why you never see those people. That's why you never see anything outside, because once that trickles in, then the catfish cat is let out of the bag. The catfish is let out of the bag. So we're authentic here. We're not perfect. We have a lot of imperfections, but everybody does. And we're not afraid to show it or say it. Mish, I know you don't feel well. I'll let you go, my friend.
Thank you, DT. Much love to everybody in the chat. Thank you again, J. Carlos. It was an okay night on Raw. Thank you very much for giving me some time. Hope you get some good calls.
Yeah.
Much love.
Yeah, much love, my friend.
All right.
I will take care, brother. I will stick around, obviously. I think we'll do this. That's nice. Nice smile. The very end. Nice smile at the very end. Much love, Mish. I'm going to talk a little more about Raw. I'm going to take your calls in a few minutes. Got a couple other things to get into quick. So, yeah, you know what? We could stick with this template for now. Just wanted to let you all know, for the channel members there, and look, I'm not trying to do it as a money grab. But obviously, if anyone is going to be a channel member here on YouTube, got to give them something extra. So I started uploading retro episodes. And since this weekend was the 10-year anniversary of CM Punk cutting his pipe bomb, I posted for the channel members the retro episode that we did on June 27, 2011, 10 years ago yesterday, the night that CM Punk cut the pipe bomb. So if you want to hear our immediate reaction live as it went down back then, you can check out that episode. Also, about 2 weeks ago was the anniversary of ECW One Night Stand RVD versus John Cena. So 15 years ago, when we covered ECW One Night Stand and a lot of other news, you could check out that episode as well. So those two are up. And what's awesome about it is, any of you out there ever check out Jim Cornette's YouTube stuff? You ever notice there's one picture throughout the whole show? No video, just a screenshot. For the last couple of weeks, I was talking about opening up a server and putting all the episodes where you just grab them and download them and enjoy whatever you want. And I started looking online, there's got to be a way to put these out there. And lo and behold, the company that I've been using for 15 years for these shows, my server, They have the capability that I hit 2 buttons and it uploads the show on YouTube. And if I give them a picture, they blend it in, they do all the processing. I hit 2 buttons and it's on YouTube. It's the same thing that Jim Cornette does for his shows. I was like, son of a bitch. I had no idea that I could do that. So I did it with 2 episodes. They were on YouTube within 10 minutes. That's how fast it was. I could put 10, 20, 50 episodes in a day if I want. So, yes, everyone, if you're enjoying the show, Nero Face saying smash the like button. And we got actually quite a few likes already. Much love, everybody. So if you want to check out those 2 episodes, they are running. Oh, and by the way, you want a troll picture? Hey, how do you like that? How do you like that? Andrade and Charlotte sharing hats. That must piss off WWE management. Don't tell me that WWE management, appreciates Charlotte posing with, even though it's her fiance, posing with someone wearing the competitor's hat. I know what you're going to say. AEW is not really a competitor. Yes, they are. WWE does not want even the smallest company to get any momentum. By the way, if you hear my nose a little screwed up tonight, I am battling, I don't know if you call it a cold, but all weekend my nose been a little bit swollen. So I'll go as long as I can go. So anyway, let's talk a little bit more about Raw tonight. We had a couple of 24/7 title changes. The fruit roll-up. Yeah, I get a kick out of all of these podcasters and writers over the last month. Suddenly, they all hate the schoolboy or the schoolgirl. That's what they call it. And we've been bitching about this fruit roll-up for how long? They're only noticing it now. But you notice it more than anything with the 24/7 title. Is it a stipulation that the only way to win the 24/7 title is if you do the fruit roll-up? I mean, everybody does the fruit roll-up. And it's getting annoying. I mean, it's not even funny. We had the Battle Royal to open up Raw tonight. The winner of the Battle Royal takes Randy Orton's spot in the main event tonight versus AJ Styles and Drew McIntyre. And the winner of that match gets a spot in Money in the Bank, the briefcase, the ladder match. So the participants were the Viking Raiders. Why? That's how bad, that's how small this roster has become. Why is the Viking Raiders in a match where an individual member could be in a Money in the Bank ladder match? I mean, what happened to this push? I mean, they're going to get the match against AJ and Omos. But smoke and mirrors. Why couldn't you put Retribution in there instead? Seriously. I mean, I know Retribution, are, tag team as well. But if you remember not too long ago, when people, and I'll give you a great example. Remember the night that Bobby Lashley kind of had an open challenge and you had people cutting promos throughout Raw that I'll take on Bobby Lashley. And it ended up being Kofi. Remember that night? If you remember, Retribution both said that they were willing to take on Bobby Lashley that night. And put Retribution in that match today. The Viking Raiders had no business being there. And let me say something. Look, I have nothing against the Viking Raiders. I like them. If you remember, I defended even the name of their team when WWE first brought them in and had that name. But I invite you to go back and look at this tonight. Omos pretty much eliminated the Viking Raiders. Yes, they were pushed over the top rope, but I want you to go back. You remember when I said it was last week or the week before when one of the members of the Viking Raiders slapped Randy Orton on the back, right in the hard camera, right before they pushed him over the top rope? Remember that? Ivar, basically because Omos was supposed to grab Ivar and try to pull him over the top rope, Ivar goes and stands on the fucking first or second ring rope. And he bends his head over so Omos could grab it. I don't even think that should be in the indies. What does Eric do? Almost the same goddamn thing. He bends over, here, grab my fucking head. And Omos, roar. That was horrible. I don't know if anybody saw it, but I hated it. I hated it. I don't know why they were in this match. I mean, obviously, let's be honest. Omos doing that is supposed to intensify the Viking Raiders versus AJ Styles and Omos. That's why that happened. But I don't know why they were in this match in the first place. I did not like it. Tozawa gets eliminated. Drew Gulak gets eliminated. By the way, the participants in this match, the Viking Raiders, Jeff Hardy, Angel Garza, Mansoor, R-Truth, Jinder Mahal. Hopefully I didn't leave anybody out. Mustafa Ali, Damian Priest. Yes, he's back. Cedric Alexander, Humberto Carrillo. And we all know, obviously, Riddle won. We talked about it before. But Drew Gulak gets eliminated first. Tozawa gets eliminated a little while later. And when Tozawa gets eliminated, Drew Gulak does the fruit roll-up and pins Tozawa. So now Drew Gulak is the 24/7 champion. Then R-Truth immediately pins Drew Gulak. And at this point, I'm saying to myself, I wonder how Jimmy Smith feels about what he's calling right now. And maybe he's just loving it, but there's got to be a little bit inside him saying, like, this is fucking stupid. And then Tozawa rolls up R-Truth to become the 24/7 champion again. And we have a couple of title changes for the 24/7 title. I agree. Some of you out there feel Damian Priest should have won. But Damian Priest has not done all that much lately for various reasons. So, look, Drew McIntyre, there's a lot of fans that do really like Drew McIntyre. Drew McIntyre is one of the MVPs for Raw during COVID. I know, maybe his title run didn't feel strong. I know a lot of people out there don't like Thunderdome. I know a lot of people out there don't like various aspects of Raw. But you also got to, and I'm not defending WWE, but you got to keep in mind that for the last 18 months, we have had COVID. And it's going to be around for a couple of years still. But the pandemic side of it is pretty much over. That variant is obviously very risky, but it's mostly risky for people who are not vaccinated. And if you choose not to be vaccinated, you got to be careful. But you can't have 150 million people who have had a vaccine lock themselves down again when they really don't have much of a threat of getting reinfected. It's like 0.01% of people who have been reinfected. So we're getting out of COVID. We're returning to live fans. And yes, Drew McIntyre had a live audience at WrestleMania, but they want the suspension of disbelief that Drew McIntyre could possibly carry the briefcase. And look, something that nobody thought about. If Drew McIntyre wins the briefcase, I know me and a few others were like, well, he can't cash in against Lashley. Well, why can't he cash in against Roman Reigns? He can. So Drew McIntyre, they got to play off that Drew McIntyre could cash in against either champion. Now, again, I still feel right now, maybe my views change in the next couple of weeks, but I think Big E wins that briefcase. He cashes in. He ultimately beats Lashley for that championship. I feel that's the way you got to go. My apologies again. So I do have a little bit of battles of allergies. What sucks about it is, sometimes I got to make a choice. Allergy medicine or pain medicine. Can't take the two together. Not going to be a casualty. So Drew McIntyre gets the advance into the ladder match. So a lot of people wanted Damian Priest. I wanted Riddle. I wanted Riddle to win. I like, when Damian Priest came up to him after Riddle won the Battle Royal, Damian Priest later on, good luck in your match and this and that. And he called him Riddle. And he's like, I'm not Riddle. I am Randy Orton. In order to think like Randy Orton, you must be Randy Orton. So Riddle kind of like, getting into the zone. I must have, Reminds me when I was a kid. How many of you out there, when you were in Little League Baseball, and I use baseball as the example, you have Little League Baseball, and when you went to home plate, you tried to convince yourself that you were your favorite baseball player. And you would do the same exact batting stance, I mean, if I get the opportunity not next week, but the week after, I told you I got an hour and a half of hilarious footage of yours truly from 25 years ago. And there's a couple of clips of me playing softball, nailing a couple of home runs. My favorite baseball player of all time was Reggie Jackson. And when I played Little League, even when I played softball later on, I tried to convince myself I was him. I would swing like him. I would, get the mannerisms, everything like him. So I tried to be that person. So it kind of, reminds me of that with Riddle. I mean, I disagree with Mish. I don't think it'll be a stalking, like a Mickey James Trish Stratus thing, but I could picture, I think Mish is right, where if Riddle gets, Randy Orton turns on Riddle, I think Riddle could act like, the obsessed, like refuses to accept the fact that they're no longer a team. So, that was your battle royal. Trying to think, there was, to have the little sub feud, Mansoor with Mustafa Ali. Ali is telling Mansoor never trust someone or watch your back, and Ali eliminates him. So that was pretty good. There was one elimination I did not like at all. I think it was Jinder Mahal's elimination. Jinder Mahal, if you go back and you look at it, the way he just dropped off the rope, I'm like, wow, that just was like a wet fart. I mean, seriously. I mean, I know there's some of you out there that like to fart, and you especially if you do it again with your significant other in the room, you're like, oh, I'm going to piss he or she off right now. And you're getting ready and you're wiggling your ass and you're getting ready to lay it. And then what happens? It goes, and you're like, well, that kind of like didn't end up the way I expected. Matt Riddle has really found his own. I am enjoying Riddle. It's funny because a year and a half ago, I freaking disliked that guy. The Goldberg stuff and everything. There was so much that I did not like about the guy, and I did a 180, complete 180 over the last year and a half. Just like Sami Zayn. A year ago, getting death threats from Sami Zayn fans out there because of the stuff I said. A year later, absolutely. And I'm enjoying, believe it or not, I honestly think I'm enjoying Sami Zayn more than anybody else on SmackDown right now. I like Roman Reigns' character. Edge may take that spot, depending on how much he's on TV. So, much love, everybody who's tuning in. Much love. Got to give some more love to Jay Carlos. That's very generous of you, my friend, especially after last week. I can't thank you enough. Everybody out there. And like I said, I'm not saying that everyone, contribute that way, but if you enjoy what we do, anyone else out there that may enjoy the shows that don't tune in now, tell them about it. If you want to post a comment from one of our episodes, post a comment. I'm always interacting with everyone. All those little things help us. Post a link on social media, tweet the link and let everybody know about it. I acknowledge everyone out there that does do that. And a lot of times they are ignored. They are insulted at. They are, I appreciate everybody's, doing that. And smash the like button. Smash the like button. So, and I loved when Riddle won the Battle Royal and he insisted that they play Randy Orton's music. Thought that was great. Some people are calling him Riddle Orton. That's not bad. That's not bad. I kind of like Randy Riddle a little bit better. Randy Riddle sounds like a jobber from the 80s. Taking on like whoever, like, from Battle Creek. No, that I don't want to disrespect Battle Creek. From Jojoba, Michigan. Weighing 211 pounds. Randy Riddle. Randy Riddle. Sounds like a jobber. Randy Riddle. Sounds like somebody would be in WCW. Ice Train beat Randy Riddle. People are battling of who's the star of the chat room. Everybody's the star of the chat room. Shout out to Maniac Magician Bitch. Some pretty interesting names out there. Mike New York, Nick Casman, Ken Terminated by DQ, Austin Nance, The Magician Bitch, Big T, Christopher Segovia, Benjamin, C-Med, Marvin. I said, shout out Marvin. So nice I had to say it twice. Kevin Milwaukee. Much love, everybody. Dewdrop basically wins the match by herself. I know not a lot of people are thrilled that Asuka got pinned, but she's in the Money in the Bank ladder match. I am still thinking Alexa Bliss wins the ladder match. I need to have all the participants first. Let it sink in. Then I will think about it. But Dewdrop, she's got some pretty damn good offense. You know, you got Asuka and Naomi trying to get the upper hand. She goes to make the tag. Eva Marie refuses the tag, kind of teaching Dewdrop a lesson, but Dewdrop won. And Eva Marie, after on the microphone, the winner, Eva Marie, you realize now what we thought was going to happen with Eva has happened. I think the first time Eva Marie hits any wrestling moves in the ring, if that happens, it's got to be on the recipient of Dewdrop. I think as much as I was not happy with the name change, I think it's temporary. I think with live fans, when Dewdrop turns on Eva Marie or just basically says, I've had it, I think the fans will actually pop a hell of a lot more than you think. And Dewdrop will be a babyface. I just don't know if you're going to call her Piper Naveen. You might, I don't know. But that relationship is not lasting that much longer. Much love, everybody. Much love. I'll get into a few more super chats in a couple of moments. Actually, I would like to get into Rye Bakers for a second. Should AJ Styles get back into the title picture? He is in the title picture. He's a tag team champion. I know you're talking about the world title. Not right now. Not needed. Not needed. AJ Styles, if you notice, this is prolonging his career. They are not letting him do, you know, what he used to do week in and week out and week in and week out and week in and week out. He put on a phenomenal performance tonight, taking on Drew McIntyre and Riddle. That match was, pardon my pun, phenomenal. AJ Styles is still a main eventer. He is still top shelf. He could still go. And he proved it again tonight in that three-way. The guy is awesome. If you want AJ Styles to still wrestle for several years, you got to start dialing him back a little bit. You got to pick your spots. I mean, they still let him go. It's not like he doesn't do as many moves he used to, but he just cannot do it on the level of what he used to do. WWE, one thing that they do well is they do get more mileage out of the wrestlers that they want that mileage from. You have some wrestlers who have had some additional years because the schedule is lighter. Now, when they go back to live fans and they do the super shows, wouldn't surprise me if AJ Styles is not even on some of them. You know, he's putting the shows together. So I say no. I don't think AJ Styles is needed as a heavyweight champion right now, but, you know, they will always go to AJ Styles if they need him in a match like tonight. You put him in the match, it makes the match better. Period. So as long as he can still go, and you know what? Omos obviously still has a lot to learn. Omos, you know, not a ring general. I don't know if he'll ever be one, but Omos obviously needs a lot more time. So how do you hide that? You have AJ Styles still wrestle some matches. If you don't do that, then people are like, the tag team champions, they don't even wrestle. So They pick their spots. That's the right way to go. Nikki AASH, Nikki Cross. I know I'm going back and forth. That's how we always do it here. Nikki Cross beating Shayna Baszler. I know a lot of people disagreed with my view last week on why Shayna Baszler is being used the way she is. I think maybe a couple of months from now, you'll see it a little bit more my way. Shayna Baszler, the way they brought her in, being able to break someone's arm in a second, and you're facing the roster that she's involved in. Asuka obviously is a worthy opponent. Charlotte versus Shayna Baszler doesn't make a Bliss, Dana Brooke, Mandy Rose. I mean, you don't have, it's very, very one-sided on one way or the other. Rhea Ripley's the women's champion. She's not feuding with Shayna Baszler right now, so unless you have a distraction and a fruit roll-up, you're not going to see Shayna Baszler dominate. She may eventually feud with Nia Jax. I don't know. I don't know if there's any reason for them to feud right now. You keep them together as a tag team because there's virtually no women's tag teams in this company. That's why you got to hide it with 6 women tags. And tonight we had Charlotte, Natty, and Tamina defeating Mandy Rose, Dana Brooke, and Rhea Ripley. And Charlotte pinned Mandy Rose. Dana Brooke, nothing against Dana Brooke, but, she's not the most smooth person in the ring. And you have her doing a helicopter. Doing a head scissors takedown. I'm like, Dana Brooke's coordination is not that great in the first place. Now you want Dana Brooke to be dizzy? Just think about that for a minute. That's why, if you notice, whenever she's doing this head scissors takedown in the future, she will do next to nothing immediately after that. You know what was scary? If you could sync up Saturday's watch along, go back and listen to what I said about Chris Statlander. I like Chris Statlander. I have complimented her tremendously. But I said on Saturday something before her match even finished. I said Chris Statlander and this kind of intertwines with Dana Brooke. Chris Statlander reminds me of, I couldn't think of a video game at the time, but somebody said Mortal Kombat, which is a great example. You play Mortal Kombat, the video game, and you're fighting, you're punching, you're kicking, and the energy level goes down to almost nothing. And you have to wait for the energy level to go back up. What happens with Chris Statlander is her energy level gets down to next to nothing, and she does one move too many. And there's not enough gas left in the tank. And that extra move is always sloppy and could be very risky and scary. She did a move on the bunny, Allie, halfway through the match, right after I said that. And I went on the video and I was like, did everybody just see that? And we were talking about it. Like, she'll go move, 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 move. And like the Mortal Kombat game, her energy level is at 3. Out of 100% is at 3%. Instead of, having the other person take the advantage, maybe they both knock on down so she can get a breather. She always tries to hit that one extra move. And more often than not, she fails. Go look at the finish in her match Saturday. I didn't even know about the doctors at ringside and everything that went down afterwards. That's exactly, we called that before it even happened. I'm not saying Dana Brooke will do that also, because look at who Dana Brooke is facing. You know what I mean? Dana Brooke never gets in that position to be able to hit a finisher like that. Her finishers are very, very simple, easy, not risky. But still, you want to do in a fucking head scissors takedown, and then she's like this after. Even when she's straight as an arrow, her coordination is a little off. It's not against her personally, but we've talked about that before. You see her around ringside. You'll see, like, you know, she's supposed to. I'll never forget that one match that she had. I know no one will remember the opponent, but she was outside the ring, and she was, I think, against the ring post, and whoever it was supposed to spin around and kick her. She was supposed to turn like into this, and it's all timing. And she was like a second too late, and it looked horrible on TV. She hits some moves sometimes. She goes in the corner, and she does all these flips like she did tonight. I mean, you know the timing is off and sucks when before you do a flip, you got to do this. If you notice, right before she does a flip, she goes like this. She's like, wind up. It's all about timing. I mean, that's just awful. You're going to elbow someone, and instead of just running in the corner and elbowing them, you go like this. So Charlotte pins Mandy Rose. This is what you got for the tag team division right now. They have dismantled the women's tag team division. Jackson Riker versus Elias. By the way, as you can see, a little thirsty tonight. We got Spindrift, which is carbonated water with actual juice. This is lemon juice. Then we got the bubbly. This is lime bubbly. I'm a big seltzer water drinker. I'll mute because I think it's a little disrespectful. Sorry for coughing before. I muted it too. I like making noises. Anyway, okay, we're at an hour and 37 minutes. So let's talk about Raw and Sunny for another 8 minutes. Then we'll take calls. Take calls for about a half hour. And just start thinking about what you want to talk about. Please keep it to the point. Saturday was awesome. Everybody got through their questions quick. Went through so many calls, and everybody loved it. Great conversation. Keep it, short and to the point. No 9 questions also. That's all I ask. Got plenty of time for us to always do calls. Remember, Thursday this week. Thursday, I'm going to treat the show like we did Saturday. Going to take calls all throughout the night. Not going to wait an hour and then take calls. We're going to just literally 5-10 minutes into Thursday, we're going to start taking calls. So if you don't get in tonight, Thursday, we got plenty of time to do it. Elias versus Jackson Riker. You know what was weird about that? I don't have any belt. I don't have any belt to simulate it. Jackson Riker. These boxers are clean, by the way. I took them out of the drawer. They're not old. They're not used. How many times you do that with the belt today? What the fuck's wrong with this guy's back? I expected red welts. This guy whipped his back so many times. He must have slapped his back about 30 times, maybe more. And when he came out for his strap match against Elias, the only thing I wanted to see is I want to see the welts. I mean, he's purging himself. He's putting his body through hell for his imperfections. It's almost like he's hurting himself as a way of punishment for the things he's done. I think it's a better visual if we see like welts and marks. I didn't see any of it. That strap match was okay. It was okay. Nothing to write home about. No, Cody did not invent the strap match. I don't know why everybody brings up Cody when it comes to strap matches. Yes, Cody's strap matches lately, the ones that he's had, 1, 2, whatever it is, they were excellent. This is Monday Night Raw. It's Elias and Jackson Riker. And by the way, why did they change Elias's music? What? Why? I don't know why they did that. I mean, you're going back to live fans. So you know you're gonna see him in the ring. Ladies and gentlemen, Elias. Hello, I'm Elias. Every time I try to sound like Elias, I sound like I'm Jewish. Would you like some of the filter fish? That's what's gonna happen. Why change the music? I gotta listen to it a few more times. I'm not sure. Alexa Bliss is growing on me quick. Nikki Cross is okay. Jackson Riker's is fine. Lionette's actually good. I think maybe it's SummerSlam. Maybe we see a backstage segment at SummerSlam of Elias and Rick Boogs. Rick Boogs. I can picture that. I can picture Elias at SummerSlam, goes to do the guitar, then all of a sudden you hear, Rick Boogs with his guitar. He comes out. Maybe we'll have a guitar challenge. Could happen. Could happen. Jackson Riker slapped his back enough where it should have been red with welts. Funny segment with him and R-Truth, though. Can I borrow that strap after so I can help get my baby back? Riker's like, get the fuck out of here. Jackson Riker gets the win. Felt very abrupt. Now, I've been in Thunderdome 9 times. Been invited 9 times. I've actually been in it 7. And I will tell you, and I have some clips recorded. I'd love to share them here, but I'm afraid because of copyright, I don't want any issues on YouTube. But Ted DiBiase has hosted the last 2 SmackDowns for Thunderdome. And when we're in Thunderdome, he'll say, all right, everyone. All right, big boos. Here comes Apollo Crews and Commander Aziz. All right, thumbs down, big boos. Here comes Kamala, big boos. Here go, thumbs up, thumbs up. So I guarantee you, whoever was hosting Thunderdome tonight, Jackson Riker, when he came out, I guarantee you somebody was in the ear of everybody in Thunderdome. All right, everyone, here comes Jackson Riker. Big thumbs up, big thumb. When he won that match against Elias tonight, pay attention to Thunderdome. Lot of thumbs up, positive reaction to Jackson Riker winning. I don't know how much of it is authentic. I know people out there still want to bring up his tweet for Trump. I saw tonight people bringing up Mustafa Ali's tweet, Ricochet and others. Like, I don't know if you're doing it because you're a heel at that time, but basically, Jackson Riker, unless, I truly believe this, unless Jackson Riker has had a meeting behind the scenes and say, I can't fucking stand Trump anymore, Jackson Riker probably is very much alone in that company. Very much alone. Now, obviously, over the last couple of years, 2 especially, I have changed my views on Trump quite a bit. There's a lot of things that I did not like, but I was vocal about it and I was honest about it. I don't know how he currently feels, but WWE sees something in him and they're trying to give him a little bit of a push. I don't know where Jackson Riker is 6 months from now, but him beating Elias today, I think tonight was the end. Time to separate the two. I think, I don't like to predict the future of certain wrestlers, but that must suck. I mean, I'm going to just be honest right now. I know a lot of you out there absolutely despise Trump. This is not a political thing, but I'm going to just say one thing about Jackson Riker. In some ways, I do feel sorry for him. And I'll tell you why. Number one, he did fight for our country. Yes, fighting for your country doesn't give you permission to, do bad things. But you fight for the freedom. Let me put it this way. Memorial Day comes around. July 4th comes around. And, some holidays throughout the year. What do everybody say? Thank you to our soldiers, to our military for giving us the freedom to like what we want to like, say what we want to say, giving us the freedom to enjoy our lives and to be free and be, and here's a guy, hear me out. Here's a guy who fought for our country to give us the freedom or to continue the freedom that we enjoy. And that freedom that he is fighting for, he can't have himself. because he is a supporter of our former president. And because of that, his own fellow workers are demeaning him because of it. You know, Sami Zayn and a bunch of others. Now, what Sami Zayn and Ricochet and Ali and a few others said, I totally understand why they said what they said, and I agree with them in a lot of ways. But like I said, as far as Jackson Riker goes, Dream 101, I've gone too soft. No, Dream, don't misconstrue what I'm saying. All I'm saying is I kind of feel bad for Jackson Riker that, just imagine, okay, this is not pro-Trump right now, but just imagine how a military guy must feel that you fight for the country to continue the freedom we have, freedom of speech, freedom of things, and when you express that yourself, you're demeaned. I don't agree with a lot of Jackson Riker's views. Let me make that clear. I kind of feel bad for him because it's like, you know, I'm fighting for this country so we can have freedom to like what we want to like, say what we want to say, as long as it doesn't, you know, go over a certain, I don't know. Guevara is Miss Frozen. Yes, he is. He left early because he had his second shot of the COVID vaccine, and he's got some side effects right now. He really wasn't going to come on tonight, but we obviously had a nice show planned. So he came on for about an hour and 10 minutes, and I am finishing up the show. That's why I kind of feel bad for other people out there. They're afraid to express their views, you know, whether it's pro something or anti something. You know, you should be able to express a viewpoint, even if it's an unpopular one, you know. But let me make it clear again, I don't agree with a lot of what Jackson Riker has said in the past. You know, I kind of feel bad for him, for a military guy. All right. You know who I feel bad with also? And again, on Friday, I made the distinction that she should have never done that podcast interview. But WWE, years and years and years, puts up listings on their corporate website, looking for writers. Knowledge of WWE not necessary. Years and years and years it's on that website. Years and years and years, people ignore it. But they get triggered because this woman did an interview. And this is what I mean. I totally agree with everyone out there that she should have never, Denise Mobley should have never done that podcast. And I totally understand why WWE got cold feet with her. But, you know, when people go on social media and, you know, just call her stupid and a dope and this and that, and blah, yes, it was very disrespectful what she said, you know, but it feeds even more. And she's getting hit by a lot of whacked out people out there that think they can just say whatever they want and be as nasty whatever they want. And because she disrespected wrestling, it's okay. So it's got to be a point where if somebody says something stupid, you know, that not that we turn a blind eye, but all right, you know, not going to pay attention to you anymore. I don't even understand why all the hate with Andrade. I don't understand all the hate about Andrade. I don't get it. I understand a lot of people do not like Charlotte for obvious reasons, but you know, I get a little confused sometimes with a lot of people out there. Yeah, meeting disrespect with disrespect. You know, usually when somebody's a whack job or somebody does something really stupid, you know, I usually just look the other way. I'll give you an example. A lot of you tonight have been writing throughout the show. Hey, what do you think about with Nikki Bella and Chyna, the video from 2013? My answer is, I feel the same way I did 8 years ago. 8 years ago, a lot of people chose to not pay attention to it. Now, because it's 2021, suddenly everybody's triggered about what Nikki Bella said. The Bella said about Chyna was not appropriate. It was actually pretty disgusting. And to be honest with you, when I saw Nikki Bella's statement that, you know, the person she is now is not the person she was at 29. And people were like, you're not like you. It's not as if you were 12 and you didn't understand. You were a grown-ass adult. And you know me, I'm not a Nikki Bella fan. I don't like her at all. Nothing personal. But I could tell you with 100% certainty that when I was 29, I said a lot of stupid things that I would never say now. And her apologizing now, she apologized to the family of Chyna already. She already apologized. They accepted her apology. They're the ones that should be upset. Yeah. When we watch it now, it pisses us off because Chyna is deceased. And, you know, obviously we didn't expect Chyna to be deceased right now. So when she was alive, people just wrote it off as, how many people out there, come on, let's be honest, everyone. How many people out there that you communicate with on social media used to make jokes about her clit? Not to be so disgusting, but when that sex video came out one night in China, I remember on this show, people all over the place making fun of her private parts, making fun of her, making fun of a lot of things. So a lot of people are not innocent. A lot of people took jokes, made jokes at that time. Nikki Bella, no different. Nikki Bella feels bad. She apologized to the family. They accepted her apology. That's good enough for me. It's good enough for me. You know, there's too many people out there that act like they do nothing wrong themselves. That's why I say, you know, it's funny to watch people talk shit about people, put people down, hide it behind jokes. No, I'm just joking around. No, you're not. You're putting people down. You're just too much of a pussy to just put them down. You got to hide it behind a joke because I'm just kidding. So when the heat comes on, oh, I'm just cracking jokes. A lot of people do that shit. A lot of people do that stuff. But the minute the boomerang hits them in the head, triggered, punch people in the mouth, want to do this, do that, do this, all these people, nobody's innocent in this. At some point, we have all said something dumb in our lives. And over time, you show if you truly have evolved and changed. So, oh yeah, no, Ken, no question. Chyna, you know, definitely fucked up in a lot of ways. And she was very vulnerable too. And a drug addiction, as I said before, is a serious illness. Addiction is an illness. And when you have enablers that are dangling what you're chemically dependent on, it makes you do things that you don't have any control of doing. So, I think we pretty much covered all of Raw tonight. I think we've gotten into all the matches. I want to talk quickly about Tammy Sytch. Another person, brunt of a lot of jokes out there. A lot of jokes out there. Now, it's no secret that I've been friendly with Tammy in the past. And the Tammy that I communicated with through wrestling shows and stuff, I still have Christmas cards from her shortly after Chris Candido passed. You know, I don't keep them I keep them as, you know, keepsake. You know, I have cards from a lot of people, a lot of stuff. You keep it. Person I always interacted with was a different person that people come across online. And yeah, some of the shit that she said when she was being trolled and said some really questionable things about race and other things, she fucked up, no question. She thought that she could out-troll the trolls. But you're in a bad relationship or you have an alcohol problem, you know, it does take over in a lot of ways. And you look at Tammy, OnlyFans account making over $100,000. And you say to yourself, why would you put yourself in a position to get yourself in jail for a couple of years? She had a tremendous and she still does, But that's what happens. When you deal with addiction, you deal with emotional issues, that shit takes over, man. And you realize that good things you had get ruined. There's two females that I'm friendly with. I don't want to mention their names. But when she got arrested again last year and she got arraigned, you know, we privately watched the whole arraignment. I still have the footage because I had to record it for someone. It wasn't available online. Got it through person connection with a court. And you're just looking at her and, you know, like one of her friends was just in tears saying like, you know, I told her not to, told her. But unfortunately, sometimes you have to hit rock bottom to turn it around. I don't know what her future will be, but she just got let out of jail and she issued this statement, and I'm going to read it to you. She said, to my family, to my fans and the pro wrestling community, I am happy to be finished with my jail sentence, and I'm anxious to start the next chapter of my life. I am healthy and happy and feel great. The incident which led to this last incarceration stemmed from some major misunderstandings. However, I accept responsibility and have used this time to make a better me and put my past mistakes behind me. I have now served my sentence for the Pennsylvania and New Jersey issues and will now focus on the future. I am focused at present on caring for my mother, who is in a nursing home, and spending time with her. I will take a couple of months this summer and decide what my next steps are professionally and make decisions about where I'd like to live and work. And she says, I want to thank my sister Lori and my mom for their wonderful support. I want to thank my fans and friends who have always supported me no matter what. And she thanked a few other people. She thanked the legal team. She said, God gives his toughest battles to his strongest warriors, and I will bounce back better than ever before. I am determined. I'll be back. All right. Peace, love, and sunshine. Now, could this be her just trying to convince herself that she's learned a lesson? We don't know. Only time will tell. But she was in jail for a while. I mean, off and on. You're talking years. Years. Alcohol does that. Relationships do that. You know, having issues with your driver's license, getting behind the wheel will do that. When it all comes together, it's a recipe for major disaster. I hope that she stays on the right path. I will say that there's a lot of people that truly, truly care about her personally. And I know that's not, you know, like the popular thing to say. You go on social media, for every one popular or positive, not popular, positive comment, there's about 95 jokes, insults. She's fucked up. She's a whack job. She ruined her life. She this and that. Look at her. You know, makes other people feel better. So, by the way, ratings. AEW SmackDown overnights. We will have the actual AEW rating on Tuesday, but the overnight rating that I got, 441,000. Not very good. But like I said, for the last couple of weeks, they are back to Wednesday nights this Wednesday, and it may take a week or two for people to get back in the swing of things, but they will be right back to their 900,000 viewers. This Wednesday could possibly be in the sevens. No question. This is what happens when some people out there set the bar way too high. When they did that 1.2 million, now they thought every week could be 1.2 million or 1 million. If you remember when they ran unopposed, in the beginning, I said, I think the average rating will be around 800,000 viewers. Some weeks will be in the sevens. Some weeks will be in the nines. You really push something huge, you get beyond the million. So some people out there, I think they set the bar way too high. They're back to Wednesdays. They should now be able to get into a flow again. And they are hyping some big matches for this week and next week. You'll see some come out. SmackDown, 1,970,000. Little lower than the last couple of weeks, but still, a little bit of a better number compared to earlier this year. I thought some people thought that SmackDown was going to do a much bigger number this week after having Hell in the Cell. I think people forgot that last week Roman Reigns took on Rey Mysterio on SmackDown, not on the pay-per-view. So really the only fallout from the pay-per-view was the sub-matches. Next week we'll have a last man standing match between Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn. As I've said before, I don't ever get sick of those guys. So I think it'll be good. And then this week we got the build for Great American Bash, which happens next week, right? I'm expecting Karrion Kross versus Johnny Gargano for the NXT title. I think they have to do it. Sucks that it's going to be announced a week in advance, but maybe they don't. But I think it needs to happen. And once again, props, that they finally took a direction with Karrion Kross and they're sticking to it. Let the fans boo him. Let him be straight up heel. And good. They finally took that direction. Anyway, we're at 2 hours. I will stick around for another 20 to 30 minutes. Actually, it's 1:08 a.m. So we'll go to 1:30 and then we'll call it. Because tomorrow, if you're a member of our Patreon family, I'll be up here tomorrow, hopefully with Mish. I think he'll be good enough to go. We'll see how he feels. I mean, one thing that's great about our Patreon family, we could always postpone the episode and do it later on in the week. We've been on our schedule for 4 years plus, I think. So if we have to reschedule, we can. But I'll be right back here on YouTube Wednesday, Thursday as well, and Friday. So we got 3 of the next 4 days ahead. And remember, next Wednesday will be a watch-along of AEW. No, this is not going to become the norm, but I'd like to finish the show a couple of hours early next Wednesday because Thursday morning I'll be on the road for vacation. So with that said, let's put this here. So you could call in. You have a choice of 2 numbers, 225-366-8669, which is 225 Don Tony. Or you could call, if you need a toll-free number, 833-366-8686. I will remove the Do Not Disturb, and we should start getting some calls in here in a few seconds. And again, say your name, where you're calling from, and, whatever specific question you want to get into. Oh, I forgot to turn the ringers off. I'll do that while we're talking. Good evening. You're on. Who is this?
This is In the Know.
What's going on? Sorry about that.
I just wanted to
yeah, go ahead.
to comment on the Bryan Clark atom bomb situation.
Yes. And I'm sorry about that ringtone. That's one thing I always forget is turn ringers off, so we should be good. But sure, what's on your mind as far as Bryan Clark?
Oh, just the horrible mugshot. I know that I follow him on Twitter, and he posted a letter from his lawyer that was labeled a press release saying about how he was vindicated and how unjust the charges were to begin with, and because of COVID, it got drug out. And so he posted that along with a current picture of him. And I see they're flashing that again. They really need to not put that picture up. Put a current picture of him up. He looks phenomenal.
I'm not gonna. The only reason why I posted it is because when we talked about it last year, that's the mugshot that everybody was looking at. I mean, honestly, since the charges were dropped, you will never see that mugshot again on this page. In fact, I think next week I'll post a couple of better pictures. I think he had one where he was in the mountains. I think he was like fishing or something, but I'm very happy for him. And it's a shame for 2 reasons. Well, 3 reasons. Number one, because law enforcement, they assumed things that were not true. Number 2, COVID made this thing delay for an extra year, which honestly, I don't even think that was necessary because I think the DA could have just requested a dismissal. And because of COVID, I know in New York, they were dropping a lot of, BS cases or a lot of minor drug cases. I mean, every state is different, but I think if the DA would have submitted a request to the court a year ago, could we drop this because there's really no evidence and it's nothing substantiated? They should have been able to do it, but they didn't. Wasn't their priority. And number three, and this is the one that pisses me off the most, is the fact that that press release is out there, that statement from the lawyers out there. People could go on the court website and see for themselves that all the charges were dropped, and 95% of the news sites out there have not covered it. When he got arrested,
right,
everybody covered it. Everybody what needed to do it and get their search in there. But now he's cleared, and nobody wants to bring it up, and that is horrible.
It's like back page story now because it's not sensational. So that's
I reached out to him.
Apparently,
I reached out to him today. I said, could you send me the information because I want to make this right? I felt bad after I talked to him a while back and realized, okay, this is not what it appeared to be last year. So I feel bad for him, but he seems like extremely strong.
Guilty till proven innocent.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Usually when someone gets arrested and you hear all these charges, you tend to think that they're legit and they stick because you hope that law enforcement and courts or district attorneys actually did their due diligence and looked into this stuff and investigated it before jumping on it. And this was a case where that did not happen. So.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I don't know if you've seen his recent podcast that he's been on, but he looks phenomenal. And I guess he's got 2 t-shirt shops, Pro WTs, and there's one in the UK. I think it's called WrestleMerch.com, and then an eBay store. He says he's got a new action figure coming out, so he's got good things going.
That's good. What I'm going to do is while I'm taking some calls, I'm going to grab 1 or 2 of the pictures and I'm going to post it online for everybody so they could see what he looks like now. Yeah, I'm looking at one screenshot of a podcast right now. I'm seeing it right now. And I tell you what's cool about it, I'm going to show everybody right now, is he's got a nice smile on his face. I mean, when you're a military guy and you have a military background and you're trying to do the right thing and you're abiding by the law. Here's one podcast appearance he made, and it's like, this comes out of nowhere and you feel like that's going to be stuck with you forever. So good to see him smiling for real.
Yeah. He must be pretty resilient.
Yeah. Good for him, man. I'm glad that he got this cleared up. Seriously.
Yeah. Good stuff.
Yeah.
That's a much better picture.
Yeah, definitely. So, yeah, if I show him again, we'll show him some positive pictures. I tell you, like I said, I'm happy that he's smiling. He seems really, really tough that, he could get through this. And I just hope those other websites do right and, clear him also. Mention it. There's nothing wrong with mentioning a good story once in a while.
Yeah, exactly. Well, I know he said that the veteran status and the working out and all that kind of helped him get through everything. And I know that he said that his wife was a director of nursing and she helped him, and he's clean. He said that he doesn't take anything now for pain. He just does it all natural. So good for him.
Good. So I will embarrass myself. I'll post a picture of me. That's somebody, my fiance capped me while I was sleeping. So that's a legit embarrassing picture of me. So if I put an embarrassing picture of him, I'll put an embarrassing picture of me.
I see that. That's not a mugshot, but yeah, that's.
Yeah, thank God no mugshots though. Yeah, I have no mugshots out there. Thank God. But, I want to thank you very much for calling in, and that's good. I hope he hears this too, because there's a lot of people out there that are actually looking out for him. I'm glad we got a good ending to this.
Yeah, Yeah, for sure. Take care.
Take care. Be well. Thank you. Here, everybody. Here's another embarrassing picture of yours truly. I know if you've seen that before. What is that? Serious? Oh, my God. That's hard. Look at that shirt. Look at that shirt. It almost looks like Reginald's suit from today. 225-366-8669, or let's put the other number up because I know some people out there appreciate the toll-free number. Good evening, you're on. Who's this?
Hey, what's going on, DC? This is Julius calling from Bayshore, New York, out on Long Island.
Hey, Julius. Hey, I used to hang out in Bayshore. We had the wrestling school for VPW out there. And also, I used to, I'm trying to remember, I think it was right off the Sagittos. Well, my friend used to have a garage. That, I can't remember if it's Sunrise Highway over there, but right off the Sagittos, I used to hang out with a bunch of friends.
Yeah, we got Sagittos, Sunrise, the LA, all that's over here.
Sure. Oh, what's going on?
All right. Hey, listen, I'm not gonna be too long. I just got a little question or so. So,
sure.
I mean, we just had the Hell in a Cell pay-per-view. So now we have Mr. Drew McIntyre. The stipulation was if he lost to Bobby, he can't challenge for the title again. But yet, you're going to put him in the Money in the Bank qualifying match where he could potentially challenge Bobby Lashley again. But it's just that reminds me of like Daniel Bryan Authority type stuff, you know. So it's like
great example. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, but the main thing I'll get off the line.
Sorry.
The main thing I really just want to say is now I know we're going back to the live fans pretty soon, about 2 weeks or so, but I don't want the fans to really turn on Drew McIntyre. I really don't want to see that happen. And I see I go to Facebook posts and stuff. People are saying, "Oh, Drew is boring. He gets another title shot, whatever." In your opinion, what separates Drew McIntyre from like 2019 Seth Rollins, where he was getting shitted out of the building? I know 2019 we had The Fiend, and that was an anomaly. And he just skyrocketed, and the fans really got behind it. But what separates Drew, and I'll get off the line, what separates Drew from 2019 Seth Rollins? All right, thanks for answering the call.
I appreciate it. Thank you for the call. Great question. Well, first off, we didn't have COVID in 2019. And the one thing about Drew McIntyre, and this is something too, today, I think is the 9-year anniversary. Chat room, is it the 7-year or 9-year? I think it's got to be the 9-year. It's the 9-year anniversary of Seth Rollins debuting in NXT. That's today. Seth Rollins was already in WWE for 7 years. By the time we got to 2019, we had the Shield, J&J Security, the Authority, and the storyline always felt like you needed, outside assistance to basically go further. COVID, obviously affected pro wrestling, affected all our lives. But Drew McIntyre was released, started to really focus on his body, focus on his in-ring work. And one thing that Drew McIntyre had that Seth Rollins didn't is Drew McIntyre left and started to really kick ass in Impact Wrestling. And then they brought him for a brief cup of coffee. They brought him back into pretty much, with NXT. And everybody saw that this was a guy like almost obsessed to basically reinventing himself. Seth Rollins didn't reinvent himself. Yes, he had different storylines and gimmicks and, people around him, but he never left, never tried to rebuild and come back, and he didn't need to leave. Seth Rollins, to me, has always been one of the top stars in WWE. I love Seth Rollins' character right now, but Drew McIntyre, someone just confirmed the number of years. I think it's 9. I really do think it's 9. It's got to be because the Wyatt family and the Shield, that epic confrontation was about 6 or 7 years ago. So it's got to be 9. But Drew McIntyre left, reinvented himself. And not only that, everybody online could see how genuine this guy was, always interacting, always communicating with the fans. Oh, Seth Rollins, you felt, pun intended, there was a shield over the guy. And here's another thing too. Seth Rollins had always felt like WWE was forcing his push, whether fans wanted it or not, whether he was, even the times when someone else should have been in that position. And, he was the focal point. The authority in J&J Security, I mean, obviously it was designed to get under your skin. But Drew McIntyre, everything felt organic. It felt like Drew McIntyre truly earned what he got. Very, very humble for it. When he won the title, you'd be surprised how many people in early 2020 that saw that video with him and his wife and how, truly humble he was of it. And you see the tears. I mean, it's just two totally different personalities. I respect anybody's opinion. I respect those that feel Drew McIntyre is boring, that feel he shouldn't have been in that position. Okay, I respect that. I disagree, though. And Drew McIntyre, I truly believe, is going to be cheered by the fans. I personally don't think he's winning the briefcase, but he's going to be cheered by the fans. And Drew McIntyre feels like what you see is what you get. I mean, this is somebody who really worked his ass off. And don't underestimate all of the PSA and the interviews he's doing about COVID outside of this. And it kind of pissed me off, to be honest with you. A couple of weeks ago, he did an interview with somebody from New York in the health industry. WWE didn't plug it. Drew McIntyre came on and, Drew McIntyre was asking this health person, like, what do we not understand about COVID, or what about this, and what about the variants, and this and that. And he was just asking questions that we would have asked ourselves. It didn't feel anything forced or pushed, or didn't feel like there was any narrative to make WWE look better. And I posted it. I said, everybody, Drew McIntyre just did an awesome interview with a health representative from New York. I said, I think almost nobody gave a shit about it. So, unfortunately, it's just the way some people perceive things. But Seth Rollins, we look back on there, Drew McIntyre, different personality, and I am not worried about his reaction with fans, because it does not feel that WWE is going to force the Drew McIntyre narrative, whether he should be in that position or not. Something that they did with Seth Rollins for an extended period of time. But I want to thank you very much for calling in. I will open the phone line once again, 225-366-8669. I almost forgot my own number. And we'll go another 11 minutes. Good evening, you're on. Who's this?
Hey, Don Tony, it's Steve.
Hey, Steven, what's going on?
Nothing. I just wanted to ask you a couple questions. So Drew McIntyre, I think he said that he wanted to face Roman Reigns. It was like a while back ago.
Yes.
And I know that everybody, so he's in the Money in the Bank, and he can't technically challenge for Bobby Lashley. And I think you guys are talking about like the draft. Do you think that, depending on like your scenario, if Big E ends up going to Monday Night Raw, that they could end up bringing in Drew McIntyre to SmackDown, because they don't really have that many guys to compete with Roman Reigns. You mentioned it. It's going to be John Cena. They're going to do a thing with Edge. And I mean, like, he did a big program with like Kevin Owens, so it's not like they're really pushing anybody like to the main event. Yeah. So I would think that maybe it'd be Drew McIntyre. And do you think that Drew McIntyre could be the one to beat Roman Reigns when there's fans, or do you think that they'll just keep the belt on Roman Reigns for like longer than that?
I think, it's funny because all of us thought Big E was going to be the one to beat Roman Reigns. Now, I wouldn't be surprised if Roman Reigns has that title going into WrestleMania of next year. I know that sounds ridiculous to a lot of people, but I would not be surprised. I think Drew McIntyre to SmackDown is a very, very high possibility. I definitely could see Drew McIntyre having a feud with Roman Reigns. And I think because of the history and because of Drew McIntyre being champion for so long, I think that suspension of disbelief might be the strongest of them all. It's pretty interesting to suddenly everybody, including me, thinking that it's going to be Big E versus Bobby Lashley, something that I don't think any of us really thought about. So, yeah, I think Drew McIntyre to SmackDown is the right way to go. It gives him a whole fresh group of people that he could feud with, and that could very well happen. And remember, Big E going to Raw, they don't have to wait till the draft. All he's got to do is cash in the briefcase and win. And now he's on Raw as the champion. So they don't need Big E to go to Raw via the draft. Drew McIntyre, though, is the opposite. And I do not think Drew McIntyre wins the briefcase.
Yeah, I don't think so either. I'm with you. I think either Big E's going to win or depending on who else we're going to have in there. Maybe like one of these like other participants could end up winning.
Absolutely.
And another thing, as far I wanted to talk to you real quick about like just AEW, just because I wanted to ask you, because I know that Kenny Omega, they've been pushing him for a while to have like the title. Do you think that, because there's a lot of people that are thinking this, that now that they're going to be the ones that are getting fans back too, that maybe they're going to try to have Hangman Page be the one to beat Kenny Omega, because like when they've been having like the sellout crowd, he's been like probably like one of like the most over guys besides like Orange Cassidy, Darby Allin, and I think like Sami Zayn, and everybody really loves him. And if they really wanted to involve like the elite scenario, it wasn't that long ago that all those guys were together and Kenny Omega like dismembered with them and stuff. And there wasn't really that much closure between him and the Young Bucks if they really wanted to incorporate that scenario with them as well.
Yeah, I talked about this Saturday during the watch along. It's almost time for AEW to now put Hangman Page in the heavyweight title picture. The only thing that sucks about it is it almost feels like he's going to have to win a tournament or battle royal or something in order to get that shot. I mean, I would be pleasantly surprised if Hangman Page just ends up getting attacked or provoked in some way, shape, or form. But right now, it just feels like, you know, they're boosting up his wins. You know, I go back to the Page versus Cage match where they insisted on bringing up that one was number one contender and one was number two contender, and then I think Hangman Page lost that match, and he was no longer number one contender. And it felt like, okay, they only did that to take him out of the title picture because the number one contender never got a title shot. The number two contender, who ended up beating the number one contender, never got a title shot. I mean, what do these rankings mean if none of these guys are getting a title shot? You had Pac, who was the number one contender for 3 or 4 weeks. He never got a title shot. You know, yes, they had him and Orange Cassidy in the three-way, but by then, Pac, you know, it was a different scenario. So it's about time that they got to give Hangman Page a couple of more wins so they could just go on TV and say Hangman Page is the number one contender. And they may just simply do that for him to have a match with Kenny Omega. I agree. I think Hangman Page beating Omega and then the crowd going nuts and him soaking it in and drinking beer, and I can picture that happen. I think right now, in my opinion, Hangman Page will be the one to dethrone Kenny Omega. The only question is when.
I agree with you. And another guy that I wanted to have them dethrone him, but I don't even think he's ever going to be in a title picture. If he is, it might not be for a while. I think it's Cody Rhodes. He's a guy that's been doing pretty good, and we've seen like how good he's worked. It seems like he's really trying to push like all these like young guys, and he's more worried about the scenario with like who that. But he's like kind of like a guy where I feel like some of his run, like I feel like he could have done like a lot better. Like you look at all these like heavyweight guys that he could have had matches with. I believe he still didn't have a match with John Moxley. He didn't have a. Did he have a match with like Brian Cage? I know he had a match with like Harper and Lance Archer, but that's pretty much it. There's not like that many like main event guys that he's been working with. I would like to see him in the title picture. I know he did like that little scenario with like MJF, which I think was stupid. But I wouldn't mind seeing him in there because he's another guy that I think that's over too. Like when he comes out there, everybody loves him, and you know that he like busts his ass and stuff like that.
Oh, I think this is what I think. I think Cody early on knew that they had to do a stipulation where he couldn't have a title match. Otherwise, everybody would want a title match. So by doing that storyline, now it explains why he doesn't have a title match. I think if we get to a point where some people end up, their contract is up and they end up leaving AEW and they really need to fill a void and put someone in a main event status, that is when you'll see the storyline where Cody will wrestle someone, could end up even being MJF, but wrestle someone that if he wins, then he can fight for the title in the future. So that stipulation was designed so conversations like you and I, we don't even bring up. Because think about it, if they never did that stipulation for the last 2 years, you would have had tons of people saying, why isn't Cody fighting for the title? We want Cody fighting for the title. Why isn't Cody fighting for the title? Why isn't Cody the number one contender? Why is it? So he shouldn't even be in the rankings if he can't fight for the title. So they did that stipulation so none of us would keep insisting that. When it's time to fill a void, and they absolutely need him to be a heavyweight champion or wrestle for the heavyweight title, then they'll do that storyline. They don't need to do it right now.
That's what I'm...
Not right now.
Yeah, because the only reason why I was just thinking that they should do it is because, like, just because, like, the way that you've been talking about it, all they have, like, these 6 or 7 guys, and I'm agreeing with you that they have, like, 20 guys that are coming out there just attacking everybody and stuff. There's not, like, really, like, any like, build-up. Like, I know, like, you know, how you're talking about is perfect. When they have, like, these 3 shows, it'd be good. But they keep making, like, all these, like, factions and stuff. Yeah. And then the people are saying that Jade Cargill might end up going into a faction. So now we're going to get, like, 20 guys, like, inside the ring, like, before or after a match, just beating everybody up.
Sure.
And to me, I just think it's stupid because there's not really that many, like, people that are, like, getting, like, singles pushes and stuff like that. Because it seems like they're just, like, focusing more so on, like, everybody just, like, beating everybody up.
Yeah. Well, you know, time will tell. I mean, I want to see Hangman Page in the title picture right now. Cody, I don't think it's needed. So they're just taking their time. They know Cody's not going anywhere. So if someone does leave, then, again, if they need to fill that void, then they'll put Cody in the title picture. So.
You think that these companies they're just having it on cruise control until fans just come in because they have no idea what's going to happen? You think that maybe like more so like towards like the end of the year and early next year we'll have like an idea of who's like really like the main event players and like who's like the mid card guys and stuff like that?
For now, for the next 4 or 5 months, it's pretty much cruise control, getting back in the swing of things. I think all the promotions are going to go out of their way to give a little bit extra special. Then when we get into 2022, I think that's when you'll start seeing things shift a little bit. So, yeah.
All right.
Well,
thanks, man.
No, thank you, my friend.
I appreciate it.
No, anytime. Much love, my friend. I'll talk to you soon. All right, let's take maybe like 1 or 2 more calls. We're at 2.5 hours. And don't forget, like I said, Thursday, I promise you within 10 minutes of starting the show, we'll kick off calls right away. So get your topics ready. Hit me whatever you want. Doesn't always have to be wrestling. Remember that on Thursday, anything is on the table. And anything you want to pick my brain about. But we'll keep the lines open for 2 more calls. 225-366-8669. Good evening, you're on. Who's this?
Oh, hey, it's Grab Vision.
Hey.
I was gonna ask, you were talking earlier about Bryan Clark and everybody, you know, kind of having to come around to really, you know, he had been vindicated on what people had said about him. And I hadn't heard what you had said, or if you had even talked about what I would like Alberto Del Rio last week. But he finally started talking about some things that were going on with what people had accused him of. So did you ever talk about that last week?
Well, let me say it like this. Del Rio did an interview with SK Wrestling, and I'm a little amazed that of everything going on that somebody would actually ask him, would you go back to WWE? Now, we don't know what the outcome of this case is going to be, but I have it. I'll read you very quickly. It's only like 5-6 sentences. I'm going to read you Alberto Del Rio's response that he gave over the weekend if he would go back to WWE. And when everybody hears this, think about what's going on with him legally. Think about what's going on, what happened with him with Paige, and you ask yourself if WWE would ever take him back. So he said, and I quote, if he would go back to WWE, quote, of course, first of all, I would say thank you. Thank you for the opportunity and sorry for the mistakes I made. I just didn't know. Sometimes I did it because it was personal. Now as a promoter, I know that there's nothing personal in pro wrestling. It's just business. It's never personal. I'm sorry for my mistakes. No excuse. But I was also going through a difficult time in my life when I got divorced. I lost a fantastic woman, the mother of my children, for my mistakes, and that put me in a deep depression. But that's just me to handle. It's not an excuse. It takes a toll on you and your body and your mind and your spirit. So I would say thank you and sorry, and I would do it again. This guy, I don't know what's true and what's not with the allegations against him with this woman or with Paige or anything like that. But, you know, I saw some of those outbursts with Paige and some of the things that he said and was accused of. This guy actually thinks that WWE would take him back because it's just business. It's never personal. This guy makes it sound like that, oh, you know, he got divorced because of his mistakes. It put him in a deep depression, and that's why he did what he did. This guy could face 25 years to life, you know, if he got convicted on that stuff. And he thinks that WWE would possibly take him back. I honestly don't see this guy having much of a future in, you know, pro wrestling other than small, tiny promotions. I don't see AEW ever bringing him in. I don't see WWE ever bringing him in. Even if he is exonerated of these charges. I mean, these charges have been sticking around for quite some time now, and we haven't heard anything similar to what Bryan Clark's, where, you know, they're going to be dismissed, but because with COVID, we have to just wait it out. He's not even making any claims like that. Bryan Clark at least went to everybody and said, look, I'm going to be exonerated. It just hasn't happened yet because we're in COVID and they keep delaying it. Okay. You know, and honestly, when I heard that, you know, I'll believe it when I see it, because I've had people in the past say to me, oh, no, it's going to be dismissed. Even in my personal life, people, oh, no, it's going to be dropped. And it doesn't get dropped. So, yeah, with Del Rio, the
interview you were talking about,
yeah.
In that interview, he was saying that things are turning around legally, but even if he does get exonerated, everything goes in the clear with him. I don't think anybody would deal with him because he acts so crazy.
Yeah. I mean, you know, do I think he was in a depression? Yeah. Do I think he made mistakes? Yeah. But to turn around and say, oh no, I realize as a promoter that wrestling is just business, it's not personal. WWE does not want to bring someone in who has a checkered past like that because it's good business. I mean, that's what it almost sounds like he knows personally he shot. It's almost as if he's admitting, because honestly, why would you even say, I know it's just business, it's not personal? So you're basically admitting that personally, nobody would hire me. But if somebody wants to, you know, hire me for smart business, then yeah, I should be hired. So I think he knows WWE would never bring him back. I think he thinks he's rolling the dice and it's going for a long shot. I don't see WWE ever bringing him in. You know, it's just too much. There's too much out there. There's too much of a trend. I mean, you know, maybe he's not guilty of this stuff, but when, you know, he got divorced because of behavior like this. He wasn't depressed before he got divorced. So what was the excuse then? You know, so I don't see this guy ever coming back to WWE. I don't see him ever going to AEW.
I don't see a major promotion in America. I don't see it happening. He may end up doing something in Mexico one day. Yeah, for
Mexico,
sure. But
California.
A major promotion in Mexico ain't happening.
Yeah, well, California, west coast of Mexico, Texas. Other than that, I don't see him anywhere else.
Okay, that's pretty much where I thought that you'd be. I was going to ask you about it because I don't know, it's just a wild thing to end up going through the news wire that like Alberto's like, I'm open to going to WWE. I'm sure you are.
Yeah. He's crazy. And look, Alberto, if you get mad at either one of us talking about this right now, remember, it's just business. It's not personal.
It's just business.
Yeah, it's just business. My business, I wouldn't bring you in. So, just opinion.
Probably not.
My friend, have a good night.
Tony, you have a good one.
You too. Be well. No, serious. I mean, what's funny? Wasn't Andrade his first opponent outside of wrestling? I mean, you heard some people ruffling feathers originally, and then you heard no noise at all. I mean, that just gives you an idea as far as how people truly felt about it. Good evening, you're on. Who's this? I think I know who this is.
Tony, it's Liz calling from Illinois.
Hey, how's it go?
All right. Hey, I got a couple quick things. You were talking to a caller 2 calls back about Hangman Page in the title hunt.
Yes.
Well, that's all good, but in about 6 months, he's going to be in the same boat as Moxley. If he has the belt, they'd have to find a way to take it off him because in about 6 months, he's about to be a dad.
Yes. It's true.
And they'll have the same problem with Moxley. They had to take it off him, then find a way to get him off the air.
It's true, but you know what? I mean, if he wins the belt and he takes 2 weeks off because of his wife giving birth, I mean, every person is a little different. I mean, Moxley, after he dropped the title, I guess in December, he was gone for over 2 months. And, we quickly forgot about the fact that he was gone for over 2 months, but I brought it up at that time. It hurt his character and his storyline tremendously because here's a guy cutting a promo saying that he eats, sleeps, poops wrestling, that the AEW world title is the most important thing to him. He'll die for it. And he gets screwed over the title and disappears for 2 months. It just totally reversed what his character was. Hangman Page, though, if he becomes champion, and AEW fans are a little bit different too. So if AEW fans were told online that Hangman Page is not on TV this week or next week because of his wife giving birth, I think everybody would be like, congratulations. And who knows, if they tape an episode of Dynamite, because some episodes are not live, they could always tape something. They could do an injury angle. There's plenty of things that they can do to keep him off TV for 2 weeks. I don't think they would have to take the title off of him because his wife gave birth.
Yeah, and like you said, you never know what 6 months down the road they could, be completely changed. But the other thing is, I was on Twitter, and WWE posted a video, and I believe it's with Dana Brooke, announcing that they're going to be having tryouts when they're in Vegas for SummerSlam. I seen that. I'm like, are you kidding me? I put on there, I said, talk about gall. You're firing people 1 week, the next week you're announcing tryouts. What the heck?
I saw the Mandy Rose video today. They did one with Mandy also. Some tells me
that's who it was.
Yeah, they done it with. My honest take on it is, look, they got NXT. They have a part of NXT that never makes TV, that does small, tiny shows in areas of Florida. So them doing tryouts, I mean, look, I feel bad for some of the people who are released, but I really don't have a problem with them doing more tryouts because they keep turning over the roster. I mean, let's look at some of the wrestlers who they've brought in over the last 2-3 years. I was looking at it yesterday. The developmental class, the Performance Center, Jake Atlas, Mercedes Martinez, AJ Francis. I can't remember who else. There was like 4 or 5 people of that class that are all, doing pretty well right now as far as NXT goes. And, so you look at some of the Performance Center, groups of people, even the one with Frankie Monet and others, there's some pretty, substantial players in there. So, if they're looking for the next group that could fill that, I mean, unfortunately, some of the names that got released Friday never clicked in. They gave some ample time to get over. And like I said, the Everrise one shocked me the most, not as far as the release, but shocked me the most that here they have this podcast that's all over the place and they can't even get 8,000 followers on Twitter. I mean, if you become a WWE wrestler, even if you're on the lowest of NXT, you get 8,000 visitors within a week. And these guys have been on TV for a couple of years, and they had this podcast for quite some time, and they still could not get followers. So, it's just some of the names, it was time to make some changes, and they're looking to turn them over as quickly as they can. So, we got to see who comes out of this camp that they're looking to sign, and then we'll take a close look as far as who they sign. Be interesting to see. Is it going to be more female, heavy on the female side? Is it going to be more, small guys? Are they looking for monsters? So, we got to see what they're actually looking to fill, because that whoever that class is, we may look at it and be like, none of them kind of seem to replace anybody who was released Friday. So I don't have an issue with that.
It just seemed kind of like, I think if I was one of the released, I'd be kind of like, what?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah. I agree.
You would be kind of like thinking like a slap in the face.
Yeah.
You're like, wait a minute.
There's a couple, if you look around some of the promotions around Nevada, there's a lot of indie people that are no name. I don't mean to say it like that, but they're no name. They're not like former stars trying to reinvent. There's a lot of people up and coming. I think what WWE is doing is they're going to try to snatch them up before they get a shot at AEW or somewhere else. So I think that they're doing these tryouts in Nevada specifically because I think they have eyes on some people that they would like to sign or at least give a good look at, and they're using Nevada as the way to go.
Do you think that they're going to do, they haven't said anything, but do you think that they're going to announce any tryouts for when they go to England?
It's possible. The only thing is, it's a little more difficult in England because then almost everybody would have to relocate. But a lot of people don't know this. Jamie Hayter, which was in it, made 2 appearances in AEW that a lot of us like. And she's been killing it overseas. Looks like Jamie Hayter is going to sign with WWE, and she's going to be part of the NXT UK or WWE UK. So they could sign people and have them just work the UK brand. So, but as far as looking at people in the UK with the idea of bringing them to the States, that's a little bit more complicated right now. So I could see them scouting some talent for their UK brand, maybe expand that a little bit. But yeah, I could see that.
Yeah, because I know they've been clamoring. I know they brought a gal from Japan, and she was exclusively for UK.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, once they announce it, I'm sure Drew McIntyre will cut a promo for everybody in the UK, the tryouts and everything. But it would be smart for them to do some tryouts, because if there's a couple of people out there that they could grab, I mean, they have the money. So if they could grab some people and give them an opportunity and see what they could do, and if they could really, put it together and, click, you could have live fans coming back for the UK crowds, the UK WWE soon. So, yeah, I think tryouts are necessary. I think they should.
Oh, yeah. Well, it's going to be crazy. I don't know, they've only announced 4 cities, but those fans are going to go bonkers.
Yeah, absolutely. People just want to get back to normal. You know, it's going to be a new normal for a few years. I mean, people are still going to have to take precautions, but, you know, just the idea of being able to enjoy more things that you couldn't enjoy for the last 17, 18 months, you know, that's just, it's going to make even the wrestlers that aren't that great, it's going to make them look even better because everybody is just going to just, you know, just be happy that things are feeling a little bit normal. So they're going to have a big crowd there.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, you have a good night. I'll let you go.
Oh, much love, Liz. Have a good night. All the best. Be well.
You too.
Take care. Benjamin, some people call through their computer. That's where some of the noise comes from. Plus, you have air conditioners. I have my air conditioner on blast right now, but I have plugins set up in my computer. They're not very easy to configure. As people, I think Saturday it was, it sounded like I was in a church for about 30 seconds. But look, great conversations tonight. I wish we could have taken more calls, but we're already 2 hours, 45 minutes. That seems to be the average length of the shows lately because of the calls, which is fine. It's fine. Just the only thing is here in New York, it's 1:53 a.m. So by the time I put this online, it's probably going to be close to 3. And then by the time, I'll probably pop an Ambien as soon as I disconnect with all of you. But I probably will fall asleep around 4, and then I got to get up at 6:30. So kind of like, Mish, don't take this the wrong way. I'm kind of like hoping that he's under the weather tomorrow. This way, maybe we could do Patreon on Saturday or something. We'll see. But 4th of July weekend, maybe we will. I don't know. But yeah, you know, people in the chat room enjoyed the calls. I enjoy them, obviously. And don't forget, Thursday, even if you've never tuned in Thursday before, join us Thursday. Because I'm telling you, I love all the shows. Every show is different. But I get more feedback from people tuning into Thursdays that they have like just an absolute fun time than other shows. It's interesting to see the feedback. And Thursdays, we didn't even know what direction we were going to go with that. And it seemed to morph into what it is now. So Thursdays, we do live calls, Q&A all night long. We do some contests. We sometimes do a little retro stuff with yours truly and some other stuff. But no Thunder recaps. No Thunder recaps. But so you're more than welcome to join me on Thursday. And don't forget, I'll be here Wednesday too. You know, I will be here Wednesday, 10:05 this Wednesday. For the last couple of weeks, I've started at 8 because AEW wasn't on Wednesday. But this week, 10:05 p.m., I will give you my overall thoughts of NXT, which will air on Tuesday. We'll do a recap of AEW as well. And then remember, next week, I'll do Wednesday from 8 to 10 or 8 to 11. But this way I could finish a little earlier. There's no way I could do the show to 2 a.m., 3 a.m., and then be on the road driving for hours on vacation next Thursday. But I thank you all for a great night tonight. Mish, if you hear this, I hope you feel better quickly. And one last time for everybody out there who hasn't done so yet tonight, if you don't mind, smash that like button. I know the graphic looks a little bit different because we don't have the normal template right now. So I can't believe how much this drooped. I remember the shirt being like this. I don't know what the hell happened. I mean, I don't know. Wow. I don't know. I didn't realize it was going to be this bad. But anyway, everyone, thank you as always. And if you are a part of our Patreon family, you know, provided Mish feels well enough, we'll be up tomorrow night for your next breakfast soup. Next Tuesday is when we do that next TV tournament thing. Last week we had a fun episode. We did like a sitcom tournament or TV shows, and it got such a response that I think once a month or maybe twice a month we're going to do like a tournament looking back at comedy shows, movies. Just trust me, last week was pretty wild, the discussion we had. And, before I get out of here, just 2 quick super chats, if you don't mind. If you don't mind. That is not a super chat, but this is. Darren Gordon Hill, please forward this to Harris B or put it towards a shirt. Thank you for the laughs. Hold tight, chat. You're nobody till someone makes a parody account of you. Has James got his shirt? Yes, James got his shirt. Everybody's gotten their shirts. But yeah, Harris B, if you email me, dontony@dontony.com, I will be more than happy to send a shirt to you. It'll be from Darren Gordon Hill, even though my name will be on it. And much love, much love. That's very cool, man. I'm telling you, I absolutely love, the generosity of all of you out there, especially this guy. I mean, obviously, I don't expect anyone really to be able to do something like that, but that is tremendous. And trust me, that helps more than you can imagine, They're really trying to make this channel bigger, stronger, tighter, better lighting, better equipment, and every little bit helps. And that is a lot of it. So I thank you for that, my friend. And Nick Casman wants Greg the Hammer Valentine back on the WWE as a wrestler. Nick, you are nuts. You are nuts. But I will say, Greg the Hammer Valentine, I saw that Hidden Treasures one with him and Brutus Beefcake. I watched, he did an interview not too long ago with a podcast in Long Island called Monty and the Pharaoh. Any of you in the chat room ever heard of Monty and the Pharaoh? They actually do some pretty good shows. They interview a lot of wrestlers, a lot of legends. They do a show in Long Island, not too far from where I'm at. And they interviewed Greg Valentine. Pretty sure they did. Yeah. I saw the one they did with Jules Strongbow recently. But I'm almost positive they did one with Greg Valentine, and I think they did it with Brutus Beefcake. I think they did it together. Greg Valentine has not aged. Greg the Hammer Valentine did not pass away. Trust me, if Greg the Hammer Valentine passed away, we would have seen 10,000 comments in the chat room tonight. Greg Valentine looks great. I met Greg Valentine. Believe it or not, the show where I did Deli Man for VPW in Long Island, where I hit Vinny the Guido over the head with the Italian bread and I tried to give him the mandible claw with the gizzards. Greg the Hammer Valentine was on that card. I actually worked the show. I actually worked 3 shows with Greg the Hammer Valentine. I did 2 shows for USA Pro Wrestling, Frank Goodman, and Greg Valentine was on 2 of those shows. The Hammer will never die. Greg the Hammer Valentine looks the same, man. I mean, I'm sure as this shirt looks, the logo for some reason drooped. If I went like this, you would think there's no logo at all. But I'm sure, the tightness is loosened up a little bit more. But he looks great. I just wish he would smile more. If you've ever watched a couple of interviews of Greg the Hammer Valentine, he doesn't smile as much as we would want him to. So, yeah. I like Greg Valentine. I always enjoy. I loved him and Brutus Beefcake. I just didn't like when they dyed his hair black. Although it was funny, him trying to simulate playing the guitar and everything. But Greg the Hammer Valentine, good guy. Definitely a good guy. So, 2 hours, 54 minutes, almost 2 hours, 55 minutes. We're under 3. So I'll take it. So everyone, have a great night as always. I thank you for tuning in. For everybody who hung out the entire night, who hangs out every show, I can't tell you how awesome that feels. Trust me when I tell you. Very humbling, very appreciative. I know I sound like I'm kissing ass and pandering, but it's not. It's not, believe me. I absolutely appreciate each and every one of you out there. You are truly the lifeblood of what I do, what Mish does, and we don't take you for granted. There's a lot of shows out there that, are become a character, because it'll get them the most views. There are people out there that'll clickbait you with shit all night long, or they'll post questions that you already know the answer is no. Will so-and-so show up? No. But they try to drag you in, to tune in. We just try to keep it straight up to the point. There's people out there that do shows that they don't do the shows based on what you want to hear. They do the shows based on what they want to hear. Then there's shows out there that will just talk about anything to just try to get any type of listener or viewer whatsoever. And no, we truly, our ears are so wide open tuning into all of you and listening what you like and dislike. And I can't thank you enough. So anyway, everyone, I'm going to jet out of here. I definitely wanted to finish this before 3 hours. Hell, I would have liked to have finished this before 2 hours. But I'm going to get out of here. And can I do it? Can I do it? Yes, I can do it.
As far back as I can remember, I always wanted to be a podcaster. For me to live any other way was nuts. To me, those goody-good people who worked shitty jobs for bum paychecks and took the subway to work every day and worried about their bills were dead. I mean, they were suckers. They had no balls. If I wanted something, I just took it. I ran everything. I paid the bills. I paid the host. I even paid the masked maniac. Everybody had their hands out. Everything was for the taking. We always called each other good fellas. You would always hear from somebody. You're gonna like Don Tony. He's all right. He's a good fella. He's one of us. But if you're part of my crew, nobody ever tells you they're gonna get rid of you. It doesn't happen that way. There weren't any arguments or curses like in the movies. See, your haters come with smiles. They come as your friends, the people who've claimed they care the most for your life. And now that's all over. And that's the best part. Today everything is different. There's lots of action. I don't have to wait around for everything like everyone else. Oh, I didn't get the vaccine? Fuck you, vaccine me. Oh, your delivery guy has COVID? Fuck you, feed me. Right after I moved here, I ordered egg noodles and ketchup, and I got spaghetti with meat sauce. I'm no longer an average nobody, while they get to live the rest of their lives like a bunch of schnooks.